Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Galactic Nerd Outpost. I am your host, Joey McGee, aka Gojin the Makai Phantom, and joining me is my fellow autist, Cody Bratch.
It's your one-way ticket to midnight. Call it heavy metal noise. Ow! Hello.
Why was I playing twice? Huh?
What?
What? If it happened. Oh shit! Do you hear an echoing of me?
No?
Okay. It's thank you, Tokupunk Productions and Alice for sticking around. I was waiting for a friend who lives in Japan. His name's Mr. Ranting Randy. He's an English teacher. I don't know when he'll be on, but he said he wants to join. I gave him some time to kind of wake up, but he will. Hopefully, he does wake up during the podcast and joins.
I don't think he will, because people who typically aren't there right from the get-go either come in at the very last minute, like what Aaron does, or not at all.
Yeah, exactly. Also, does anyone else hear that echo? Cody?
I honestly don't hear an echo at all.
Okay. Let me try turning my microphone off and then re-turning it on. Oh wait, that's your microphone, bro. Can you try rejoining?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Yeah, sorry about those inconvenience, guys. Next time I'm gonna ask him when he'll be when Mr. Ranting Randy isn't sleeping. Okay, that's my microphone. Oh wait, I see the issue. I see the fucking issue. Oh, I found the issue. Okay. Okay. Alice said, would you prefer to live in Pacific Rim or a legendary monsterverse? That's a tough question for me because the thing is, I love both, but Pacific Rim's better than the Monsterverse. I will say that right now. The first Pacific Rim, an Uprising isn't even.
You take that back.
I'm just speaking facts. The first Pacific Rim is a masterpiece.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece, but better than the whole Monsterverse? You're high as a fucking kite.
Yeah, I'm always high. Okay, my thing's still doing that. Let me try rejoining.
And now here I am by myself, talking to myself. That's chaos theory. So, what are we all doing right now? Tell me in the chat. Toku Punk, Alice, what are you doing? How are you? While we wait for the guy who's actually running the show here. Let's see what's going on here in the chat.
Okay, is the audio better?
My audio is fine, honestly. I don't know what echo you're talking about. I haven't heard a single echo at all since this thing started.
Okay, I'm gonna need to ask the chat. Do you guys hear a echoing in our voices, or is this just my dumbass computer, or am I going crazy? I don't know what it is. Like, let me try removing this. Nothing's working. What the fuck?
You say you hear an echoing.
Yeah, chat does too.
Oh, for a second there, I thought you might. I was going to suggest that you might have a tumor in your head.
Let me see if there's anything I could do with settings. Okay, audio. Okay, is this fixed? I need to ask the chat because Cody can't hear it. Well, oh, I still hear it. Let me try again.
Okay, now I hear the echo.
Yeah, this shit is fucking gay.
Then you should feel right at home.
Oh, fuck off.
You first.
Okay. Usually my computer doesn't do this, so I don't know what's up. Let me try putting in earphones if this doesn't work. Okay, let me try putting in my headset.
Maybe it's just doing it because you're a dumbass.
I don't know what to say. Usually doesn't do this.
He just appeared again. What do you think would happen if Godzilla and Kong were to swap bodies? I think Kong would take one look at Godzilla and smile and be like, "It's your turn, motherfucker." Bad Omens. Do you mean like actual Bad Omens, or is that some sort of show or movie or something? Oh, the band. I ain't never heard of them, so I can't say yay or nay. Okay, let's look it up. Bad Omens is an American rock band from Richmond, Virginia, formed in 2015 by vocalist, frontman, and producer Noah Sebastian, guitarist Nicholas Rufflio, sorry, I butchered that name, and bassist Vincent Require. The band was later joined by guitarist Joakim Jolly Carlson and drummer Nick Folio, releasing their critically acclaimed debut self-titled album in 2016 under Sumerian Records. Their second full-length album, Finding God Before God Finds Me. Sorry. This is what happens when you get a lone autistic boy here on the podcast trying to run things. Anyways, Finding God Before God Finds Me was released in 2019. A deluxe edition was released in 2020, spawning singles Limits and Never Know, which both charted on the Billboard Mainstream Rock Songs chart. I'll have to check these guys out. Let's see. It says here that their genres they do most are metalcore, alternative metal, and new metal. And yet, it opens up by saying that they're an American rock band instead of an American metal band.
Okay, we're gonna have to throw one last thing. Cody, how about me and you both leave and then we both rejoin?
Fine. Let's leave then.
And then we'll rejoin. Just so please don't leave, chat. We're gonna be coming back very soon. We just gotta see if this works.
Okay. What would you do with your life if you swap bodies with Godzilla? I would take over the world. Yeah, that's it. Take over and make everyone worship me like a fucking god. That is until someone gets the bright idea to launch a nuclear missile at me, or maybe all the nuclear missiles. Sure, I could probably feed off the nuclear energy, but the sheer force of all those missiles coming at me at once would rip me apart. But oh well. At least I had a few good days as god of the world.
Okay, so it looks like I don't know what to do here because I literally even hit cancel out audio. I hit echo cancellation. I also X'd out anything else that could have been causing it. I don't know what's fucking happening here.
Maybe
Okay. Is it fixed now? Is it? Got it.
Don't ask me. I still don't hear the echo.
Do you hear me? The echo's gone, bitches! Holy shit! It's gone! In 13 fucking minutes! Thank you two for staying and whoever else did, because that was pissing me off. Must have been a glitch with StreamYard. Okay. Well, on the bright side, Mr. Ranting Randy gets time to had more time to join, but okay, first I'm gonna ask Cody, how are you today?
Oh, I'm fine. Like, just, living life. Not anything major happening, but there's nothing majorly bad happening either. So I guess you could say it's okay day.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just working on a review for the first Raimi Spider-Man film and in preparation for the upcoming Across the Spider-Verse. I'm late as fuck though because my dumbass didn't realize that June was so close. But then someone said, "Hey, you know June's nearby, right?" Because the year goes by very fast when you're an adult. And I looked at Across the Spider-Verse's release date. I was like, holy shit, I'm getting late to work on that Raimi Spider-Man review.
Somebody said June was right around the corner. I was the one that said that on the last podcast, dumbass.
Well, no, it was before that. It was before that podcast. It was the same day, but it was before that. That's why I told you in that podcast I was getting ready to work on that video.
In the words of Will Ferrell from the first Anchorman, I don't believe you.
But I'm currently working on a script, and it should be out in June. Looking forward to it. That movie means a lot to me.
Don't you have some sort of dipshit who's co-reviewing with you?
Yeah, you.
Exactly. So I know what I'm talking about when I say that guy's a dipshit. Fuck that guy.
But that said, we should get into our journey with the metal genre. This shit is long overdue.
The metal genre. I think you mean the many, many, many subgenres of metal.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Because metal is a very, very wide thing.
Yes.
Sub and fusion, because there's a lot of good fusion genres with metal as well.
Well, if anyone knows about subs, it's definitely you.
Oh, fuck off.
You first.
Okay, let me get that thumbnail back on screen. There we go. That shit looks good.
Indeed, indeed.
But you start, Cody?
All right. So, really, my journey with metal started with my dad. You see, my dad was a multi-instrumental player, and I was also a singer. He could play guitar, he could play drums, bass, keyboards. I think the motherfucker could even play clarinet.
So he's Squidward.
Oh, please. Squidward wishes he was my dad. For one thing, my dad was actually good. Better than good. He was kick-ass. He was amazing. I mean, he could actually play guitar and make it sound like two different people were playing at once. It's hard to explain, but he loved rock and roll. He was a big fan of everything from Elvis to the Beatles to Led Zeppelin, and the list goes on and on. And in that list of rock music he likes is also heavy metal, because the original traditional heavy metal genre was a subgenre of rock music. So he liked acts like what are some ones I can think of off the top of my head? He was a big fan of Judas Priest. He enjoyed Led Zeppelin pretty good, as I already mentioned. And he also enjoyed Kiss a lot, too. And he also really loved the 80s hair metal groups. He preferred more bluesy rock music, but he also really enjoyed hair metal bands like Poison, Motley Crue, Winger, and Wasp. And he also liked Enter Sandman by Metallica. That's literally the only Metallica song he liked. And I'm just like, why? Metallica is great. They have this whole thing. So through my dad's love of rock and metal music, classic metal music, I also found acts that he did not care for a whole lot, but still had the similar sounds and sang about similar subject matters that I could enjoy. Like Alice Cooper. For some reason, he didn't like Alice Cooper. I'm just like, but Alice Cooper is amazing. And I also found Black Sabbath, and I also found Ozzy and Dio both as solo artists. And yeah, I loved all those bands. Nothing beats a guitar that sound with heavy distortion in it, whether it's tuned to E or tuned to D, and a snare drum with a big sound to it that goes pop, just like the blast of a cannon. That's good shit. I love that kind of shit. And a singer who sings like his balls are in a vice grip. But yeah, very high guys who can hit high notes like a motherfucker. I like Guns N' Roses. And then I started to listen to more modern, well, at the time, more modern bands like Disturbed, Avenged Sevenfold, Theory of a Dead Man, Killswitch Engaged. And through my sister, I also learned about more extreme genres of metal, like death metal and black metal and metalcore, screamo metal. It went on. The list just goes on and on. Speed metal. And while I don't really care for a whole great deal for extreme metal genres that have a whole lot of that kind of stuff. I do listen to it on occasion, and I respect the guys who can actually do that without like fucking up their vocal cords and shit. That takes a lot of time and a lot of effort to learn. Although I will say some of the bass players in those genres are kind of shit because some of them only play one note or chord throughout the whole song without changing up the bass line at all. And I'm just like, get good, motherfucker. But and I also the more modern modern again in quotations subgenres I love the most tend to be power metal and symphonic metal. And power metal, for those who don't know, has a very strong emphasis on fast tempo and really fast drum sounds. And they usually sing about things like heroes and dragons and sword and sorcery and that kind of stuff. Whereas symphonic metal has a heavy usage of keyboards. Well, so does power metal, but symphonic metal more so, and also relies on very operatic sounding singers, mostly female singers. Bands like Nightwish and Within. Wait a minute, is it Within Temptation?
Yeah,
I
Within
think it's
Temptation.
Yes. And then there's power metal groups like Glory Hammer, Dragon Force, and one that I really, really like, but no one else is going to know exists, Victorious, who literally sings about cybernetic dinosaurs fighting aliens.
That sounds fucking awesome.
It is fucking awesome. So, yes, through my dad got me started. My sister broadened my scope, so I still tend to stick to classic guys like Metallica, Judas Priest, Alice Cooper, people who debate older acts that people will try to debate whether they're metal or not because they don't have someone going the whole time.
Even though that's not how metal started. Metal started with fucking Ozzy Osbourne. Shit like Crazy Train.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That's why I don't take people like that seriously. Oh, and when I make those growling noises, I'm not trying to mock death metal or any genre that uses that. That's just the best I could do without shredding my vocals because, well, I'm not trained to do that kind of shit. Those guys who do that kind of shit are trained to do it. So, like I said before, hats off to them. I have a lot of respect for those kind of guys and can even appreciate listening to death metal and black metal on occasion. But I'm a classic metal type of guy, and again, symphonic metal and power metal, and yeah, that's who I am. Oh, and also Iron Maiden's amazing too. Put some respect on their name. Megadeth, Slayer, Anthrax. Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all I got to say about that. You go next, Joey.
In terms of Iron Maiden, one of the things that got me into them was I'm gonna go on that soon, but I will say this since on more on this topic soon. But one thing I will say is Iron Maiden. One of the things that got me into them was their song 666, Number of the Beast, and a big part of that, outside of the song itself being good, was the music video has fucking Godzilla from Mothra vs. Godzilla in it.
I will admit it took me a bit to get into Iron Maiden, and that's only because, well, there's so many musical acts out there that you can only listen to so many before some start to slip through the cracks. And for a long time, Iron Maiden was one of those acts for me that slipped through the cracks a bit. And then I listened to their song "Wasted Years," and instantly I was hooked, and I started broadening my horizons with them. Now I like Number of the Beast, Run to the Hills. It goes on and on. Iron Maiden's fucking awesome.
Oh, they are. Tokupunk Productions said, let me read. Do you like A Day to Remember? Yeah, I do. I've listened to them in like 2011 and such. They mix metalcore and pop punk together, and I think they do a really good job at that.
I need to listen to them and give them a chance.
Yeah, I think you'll like them. They make some really good music.
I don't doubt it.
But In terms of how I got into metal, this is interesting. So, my mother grew up with glam metal slash hair metal, like Bon Jovi, Poison, Motley
Dawkins?
Crue, huh?
Dawkins?
Yeah, Dawkins. What else? What else?
The Scorpions?
Yeah, she likes them too. That she got me into them too. And she also likes this band called uh I shouldn't say it's like this shades this band like they're anything underground because they're fucking not. Guns N' Roses and multiple other works. But she really liked Bon Jovi ever since I was a little fucking child, long before I even existed. And basically she would play stuff like Bon Jovi music and the vehicle when we would go out and such, like going to stores.
What was her favorite song?
Who's mine or hers?
Hers. Then
Um,
yours.
Hers, I don't know if she has a particular favorite song, but mine, ones that I did really like from him was Shot Through the Heart or whatever the fuck that song was called.
It's
You Give
called You
Love a
Give
Bad
Love a
Name.
Bad Name.
Yeah, You Give Love a Bad Name. Without Love, that was also a really good one. What else? What else? Like, these are actually cheesy songs and you think about them, but they're good, you know?
Hey, sometimes you need that cheesiness, that silly 80s upbeat thing that makes you feel like that makes you happy to just be alive. That's why I
Almost
like it so much.
Oh, most definitely. I think one of the things that got me into Bon Jovi when I was a kid, alongside eventually other hair metal groups, is it's very unique from other metal genres as it mixes 80s pop music with 80s metal. And overall, when you mix those two very different sounds together, you got a unique sound that isn't too heavy but not too soft either. And it's overall, and when I was hearing bands like Bon Jovi, I would also listen to other songs you would play. Like after a bit, I liked Bret Michaels' music too, and that started with his solo stuff. And the solo stuff, he does more country rock. But then after hearing Bret Michaels' solo stuff, I eventually checked out him and the band Poison, where he did hair metal. And I grew to like that as well, where I was listening to him a lot. And then over time, there was these wrestling games. Like, this is where gaming and wrestling comes in. I used to play this game a lot called Backyard Wrestling, and there was a lot of music in there that overall caught my attention, and a lot of that goes, I'm not going to go into all that since that also delves into punk, rock, and stuff like that. Like, Backyard Wrestling got me into rap rock as well, like the Insane Clown Posse, pop punk like American Hi-Fi and Bowling for Soup and such. But after playing Backyard Wrestling, there was this wrestling game called Here Comes the Pain that they found in the stores because they figured it was like what's the word I'm looking for? It was like Backyard Wrestling, and it was of course SmackDown Here Comes the Pain. And after playing that game, I played the SmackDown versus Raw games. In 2007 is where I found the soundtrack that really got me into stuff like 3 Days Grace. And 3 Days Grace and Drowning Pool even. And that's when I started getting in more into other metal genres. And while 3 Days Grace isn't anything too heavy, Drowning Pool's a little bit more so since they're new metal. They were a part of my journey, and then over time I started hearing stuff like death metal from my brother, who is my brother, the horror fan and the metalhead, because he started introducing me to bands like Cannibal Corpse with songs with very good names like Stripped, Raped, and Strangled, and Like This City, which I'm not sure if anybody knows of them. They recently came back after leaving, and I grew to like that, and I also kind of got into metalcore around that time with groups like Bring Me the Horizon, and I got into nu metal after I don't really watch Mojo anymore, but I did watch a video of top 10 metal groups or something, and one of the groups that was on that list is what you see there on the thumbnail, Slipknot. And man, when I found Slipknot, I was obsessed with them. And I still do love Slipknot. They do groove metal, nu metal. I just really love their work. There was a time when I was a kid, I was listening to them so much. My autistic ass was just asking random ass people I'd meet, "Hey, you know who Slipknot is?" And yeah, and of course they all know who Slipknot is because they're still mainstream. Um, And of course, in terms of metalcore, like another band that got me into metalcore is what you see right there on the poster as well. I Set to Kill, and they're another group that I've kind of grown to like because it was probably one of the first female metal singers I've actually heard in full and grew to really like. And then you had those clean vocals blended with the screams and growls of the male that just made me really grow into that, especially since when I was a kid and still now I love punk music, and metalcore had a perfect blend of extreme metal and hardcore punk. So I just got more and more interested, where I also delved into bands like Bullet for My Valentine. Um, and then I got into stuff like power metal. Tokupunk Production says Bring Me the Horizon is for true Giga Chads only. Yeah, I like Bring Me the Horizon. Been a while since I've listened to them. But basically, I've my journey into metal, I just started listening to a bunch of different genres. It started off with glam metal. It went to stuff like plain heavy metal like 3 Days Grace. Then it went more into thrash metal, death metal with stuff like Slayer and Metallica. And then metalcore, nu metal. Basically, I like it all. Oh, and this is where my final journey ends, because at this point, I was basically listening to everything metal, but stuff in another language, because for some reason, I wanted to understand the lyrics back in the day, but these days, I don't care. But then I checked this band out called Bloodstained Child, and that's when I got into J-metal. Of course, Bloodstained Child, despite being Japanese, a Japanese metalcore group, they speak English, so at first I didn't mind that, but that's where I kind of got introduced to the sound of J-metal, where then I was like, you know what, I'll give baby metal a chance. I listened to them, and then I just started listening to other bands in all of its different languages, and then I finally checked out J-pop and other genres. So metal got me more into just metal. I got into stuff even outside of it. It was a very long journey for me, and it all started thanks to my mother. Also, thank you for joining, Jiku. I wasn't sure if you were going to.
Yeah, no, sorry about that. It's morning here.
Yeah, next time I gotta ask you, next time we work together, I gotta say, what's your
Yeah.
schedule? Like, what times are you awake?
Yeah, I know. At first I thought I checked your link and it said there was like at 8 p.m. my time. It said in 7 hours. And I'm like, that's 3 in the morning. Maybe I can do that. And then I fell asleep.
Oh
but then
no.
but then
Yeah,
like I get a message from you and I'm like, oh shoot, it's happening now. Oh,
yeah. When I first checked Facebook and it saw you left me on red, I was like, why is bro doing this to me? He's the one
yeah,
who's
yeah. Sorry about
Did he
that.
come back?
Yep. I was like, why, Jake? Why?
Oh no. Oh man. Well, I'm here. And I heard most of I think what you guys were talking about. So
Yeah.
oh
We're just
man.
saying how we got into metal and shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And I thought that was pretty interesting because um metal was always something that it was a genre of music that was like the kind of the first one that I sort of like put my it was the first genre of music I called myself a fan of, basically. So that's
Nice.
why I was like, "Ooh, that sounds like an interesting thing, and I can actually join that maybe." So,
Very cool,
Well,
very cool.
tell your story. We told ours.
okay, so let's see. Um, where does it start? Well, I guess I got into metal kind of. Um, it, my mom was always kind of like I come from a Catholic upbringing, so she was always kind of like, "Oh, mm, is that evil devil music?" Even though it was like 2010.
Sounds familiar.
So yeah, okay, yeah. So I there was no real input from my mom, and it was mostly because my dad was a musician, and he back in his heyday he was like really kind of famous. He had like a fan club or whatever, just locally, but um and he was a musician. He played guitar, and he had like this pretty high tech setup for the time. But I wanted to learn guitar because he played guitar, and the big problem was that a lot of the music that was out there that was like guitar music, um, like they focused a lot on chords, like acoustic songs and stuff. And that wasn't really that interesting or exciting to me. Um, and kind of like my gateway into the metal genre almost was actually a hard rock band, and it actually comes from a video game or video games, I should say. Crush 40. Do you guys know Crush 40?
I
Love
know
that
the
group.
name.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
do music for the Sonic the Hedgehog games.
Yes. Yeah.
I
So,
highly recommend their song "I'll Never Turn Back." It's my favorite
yep.
by them.
Yeah. And so I was an avid Sonic fan back when I was a kid, um, on the GameCube, and those songs were bangers. My favorite song was "Open Your Heart" from the main theme from Sonic Adventure,
Nice.
and I thought, man, these songs are really cool. I want to learn this on guitar, and Crush 40 was like kind of like my obsession musically for quite some time. And even to now, like when I was listening to Crush 40 um earlier to sort of like remember what, the style of music was like, um it was really interesting. I still think G.N.O, who is the guitarist, he's still like he's a really good guitar player. I mean, he's not like l- extremely technical or anything like that, but um it was his like style, style of lead guitar and rhythm guitar, and his composition style that really opened me up to the world of like heavier rock. I mean, if you listen to any kind of like metal and you go to Crush 40, maybe it's not the most brutal sound ever, but back in the day, that was like some of the most exciting music for me to listen to, especially when it was coming from a video game. Um, and then we were taking guitar lessons, and we had this guitar teacher. His name was Larry, and for some reason, I think that was just a really cool name for a guitar teacher, Larry. But
I think of Larry the Lobster now that you say that.
yeah, I mean, he was kind of like he had like long hair and stuff. He looked like he could have been a member of some kind of 90s new metal group or like a death metal band or something like that. But he got my brother into Metallica, and my brother introduced Metallica to me. And so that's kind of where like that I guess, as with most people, I think Metallica is like that gateway uh band into the world of metal. And I mean, Metallica has a lot of great songs though.
Hell
Of
yeah.
course, of course now like it's kind of what do you say? It's kind of basic to say that, oh, my first Metallica song was Master of Puppets because of the whole Stranger Things thing that happened a couple years ago or whatever. But like, back then it was kind of special because if anybody knew any Metallica song, it was either One or Enter Sandman. More often than not, it was Enter Sandman. So, you know, at the time it was special. But uh yeah, we Metallica, their first 4 albums were like my introduction to them, really. And I didn't really listen to the Black Album until quite late into. I remember I actually listened to Death Magnetic, which was their newest album at the time, before the Black Album. And I kind of avoided the Black Album just because I thought it was a little too mainstream. Uh, Back in the day, I was a little bit of an elitist. I became an elitist because of Metallica in a way. If you were like glam, if you liked glam metal or new metal, especially, or metalcore or deathcore or something like that, would be like, that's poser stuff.
I think
Which
my
is-
introduction to Metallica was The God That Failed, but that's because I was raised by a religious family, and I was like, yeah, this is some edgy shit here. I want to
Yeah.
listen to this.
Mhm. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting song too. Though personally, I haven't listened to it all that much, but yeah, that's a really interesting song, but like at least a story behind it. So
Well, yeah, it's because his mother was a Christian Scientist, I think, and she ended up
yeah,
relying on God to save her, but she died.
yeah. There's a great video about Christian Science. It's so weird. I just remembered because like James Hetfield came from a Christian Science household, and Dave Mustaine came from a Jehovah's Witness household. Two like cults.
Yeah, Jehovah's
Like,
Witness got to be even worse.
yeah, like which one's worse? It's insane, but yeah, the yeah, Metallica was like the first band I got into, like real metal band that I got into. Um, Not to say anything bad about Crush 40 or anything, of course.
For
But
sure.
and then like after that, it was mostly Metallica actually. I went through like 2 years almost of listening almost exclusively to Metallica, but I did dabble in some like other bands. In particular, one of my favorite bands to listen to when I was sick for whatever reason was Black Sabbath. Um I remember if I had a cold, I would just turn on one of Black Sabbath's first 3 albums. And I would just listen to it. And for some reason it would just be a vibe. And it I don't know how to describe it, but Black Sabbath's first 3 albums are some of my favorite metal albums, especially their third one, whose name I am forgetting at the moment, but they have Children of the Grave on there, which is like one of my favorite songs. Um and I also listened a little bit to Slipknot. Not very
Yes,
much. Not very much though. It was only maybe a couple of songs, and to this day they're the only songs that I still really know. um uh
gay.
yeah, I know. Uh it was I guess when it came to Slipknot, um like there was nothing I thought there was wrong about it, but I didn't understand the guy banging pots and pans in the background. Like you're like what's that guy? It just gave off like Justin Silverman vibes and Rex Viper. Like what are you doing?
Well,
Oh
basically, why
wow.
Slipknot does crazy shit in their videos and on stage, and even with the mask, is they're heavily inspired by horror movies. So generally, you see a bunch of fucked up imagery to kind of represent that. Like one of their inspirations goes back to slasher films and The Shining. Their music video to spit it out really shows the Shining part.
Yeah, it's interesting, but back when I was a kid, I was like, why is that guy just using sticks and banging on trash cans in this music video? Like, is he a member of the band or is he just like hanging out? Uh,
You mean like
but
what Lars Ulrich did for Saint Anger?
oh yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
I hate
You
that
know,
album.
I actually went through. A lot of people say they go through an emo phase. I make this joke a lot, but maybe you've already heard it. But most people go through an emo phase, but I went through a Saint Anger phase where I was just like completely obsessed with Saint Anger for a few months.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I actually never have hated Saint Anger. I mean, I knew people hated the album. I knew people thought it was terrible and everything. And then I decided I was going to listen to it. When I listened to it, um, not all of it, like some, because it was back in the early days of YouTube where like, you couldn't just stream full albums. Um, but I listened to the songs that I could, and I thought, I mean, it's not terrible, you know. And I actually bought the best version of Saint Anger you could ever get. It's the Walmart edition of Saint Anger. It was if you don't know, Walmart has like this rule where they will not sell any albums or any CDs or anything that have explicit lyrics in them. And so, at least that's how it was. And so, what a lot of these bands are in the record labels would do in order to get Walmart as a distributor for their albums, they would actually re-edit the songs and censor all of the bad words. And so the way they did it with that version of Saint Anger was whenever James would say a naughty word, it would just sound like him barfing.
Wow.
Like, oh yeah, I take or whatever. It would sound like that. And that's like the funniest version of Saint Anger you can get. It just sounds like he's getting sick in the toilet. It's
Sounds
really
like
incredible.
sounds like Cody when Abyss Kaiser's giving him the D.
Probably. I
I
haven't
work
heard
with
it.
children, people. I work with children.
Abyss Kaiser
But-
said in the chat, "From whom the bell tolls" was my first Metallica song. That's a good one.
For Whom the Bell Tolls? Yeah. You know, I was actually in, I know this is like way off topic, but to show how devoted to heavy metal I was actually in a metal band in high school.
Oh,
cool.
congrats.
And so we weren't famous or anything. But we covered a lot of Metallica songs, and For Whom the Bell Tolls, of course. It's like the easiest Metallica song you can learn on guitar. And it's a huge crowd pleaser too. Somehow. I got kind of bored with For Whom the Bell Tolls, I'm not gonna lie. Just having played it so many times and listened to it. It became one of those songs you could listen to without listening to.
Right.
But yeah, we played a lot of Metallica songs, as well as we even covered Metallica's version of Am I Evil? Like, you know, that sort of thing, which is
Right.
pretty funny. But yeah, as far as like, so when the Metallica thing was going on, we had like Black Sabbath, which was like the second most prominent band for me. And like there were some peripheral bands, like Slipknot was one of them, and like there was like one Korn song that one of my friends showed me that I thought was okay, that I would listen to occasionally. And it was actually around that time when I listened to my first Megadeth song. And it's probably like one of the most hipster Megadeth songs you could get into. You could say is your first one, but I was working with I was just downloading whatever I could off of this free MP3 site, and you search Megadeth, and that's like the only song on there. And it was the song "Looking Down the Cross." Do you guys know that song?
Yeah, I know that song. Been a while
do
since I
not.
listened to Megadeth, though, since that's why last time when we were in the Discord server, I ended up spelling the name wrong of the band, and you gave me shit.
Oh,
Rightfully so.
It wouldn't be me. It would be Dave. Dave Mustaine hates it when you misspell the band's name. It's like, we've been around for 40 years, and you can't even spell our name. Get out of here! Like.
Yeah, it's been a while since I listened to Megadeth, but when I found them a couple years ago on that old school computer I had, that I also used to use to look up porn. I ended up I was listening to them like crazy. Been a while, but I do want to listen to them again. Like, for example, I Set to Kill. It's been a while since I listened to them, and then recently, as in the thumbnail, I've been hooked on their music again alongside metalcore as a whole.
Yeah, Megadeth is really, they've really stuck with me. And I'm not entirely sure what it is. Dave Mustaine is a really good songwriter. And there came a point where I listened to Metallica so much that I got just bored with everything except for Lulu. I'm probably going to be the only person you'll ever meet who will say that I don't think Lulu is bad. You're probably going to this is probably the only person you're going to hear it from. I don't think Lulu is that bad. And that was like the last Metallica project I was listening to after everything else just became kind of like noise to me. Well, I want to say noise, but yeah, it was it became kind of a drought for Metallica stuff because I mean Metallica have been so slow with album releases, and they don't actually have very many studio albums. So once you've listened to them enough times, you start kind of like looking for other things, you know. And the thing about Megadeth was that like they have such a huge catalog of music that like and all of it is so like there are so many different eras and so many different styles that they've done that they never get boring. Um, you know, if you want to listen to Megadeth be spooky, that's like their first 4 albums. You get Spooky Death, you know, that's what Looking Down the Cross is, or like one of the middle tracks on Killing Is My Business, their first album. Or like you want to listen to Spooky Death in Rust in Peace, you listen to Dawn Patrol or something. But if you want some of their more like harmonically complex songs, you listen to like their first, well, not the first 2, but Countdown to Extinction, like Euthanasia. You want to listen to more like alternative stuff, you have Cryptic Writings, Risk, and The World Needs a Hero. Even though I'm not a huge fan of The World Needs a Hero, but Dave isn't either. He, have you guys read Dave Mustaine's autobiography before?
I have not.
No.
What's it like?
Dave talked about his experience going into The World Needs a Hero, and he said like the only reason that album even existed was because he signed on for a 3 record contract with the record label he was on, and Risk was number 1. So he needed 2 more. And so The World Needs a Hero was made just to fill in the space, to satisfy a contractual obligation. And he said he was very he was very, what's the word I'm looking for? Uninspired with all like the songwriting on there. And so he was just, and then the 3rd album, The System Has Failed, he was also feeling the same way, but The System Has Failed actually turned out to be a lot different from The World Needs a Hero. Like then you get like the more modern Megadeth sound with like United Abominations and Endgame, Dystopia, and then The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, and and then there's Super Collider, which kind of fits in somewhere. Everybody hates that album. People have said it's worse than Risk, and people hate Risk, and so I don't know. But Super Collider, people will. I mean, that album turns 10 years old in a few days, and nobody's gonna notice. But
I do a joke involving Cody, but that's gonna be a bit too far, so I'll shut up.
I oh no. I think that's all you really needed to say.
I work with children.
You know, that's not a good response to what I just said, Cody.
Ah, shit. I hate you. I hate you with everything that I am. I will kill you in your sleep, and I will make you thank me for it.
Sounds hot.
Well, but yeah, Megadeth are great. I'm extremely well acquainted with their entire catalog, I think, at this point. And like other bands I got into, there was a time when I like fell out of metal for a while. I kind of just got bored with the genre for like a year. Then the band that got me back into that was actually Judas Priest.
Nice.
Judas Priest is still a really great band.
Oh, they
least in
are.
my opinion.
What got me into Judas Priest was once again my metal obsessed brother with their song "Painkiller."
Yeah, I mean, I really respected what Judas Priest did with Painkiller because they saw what was like happening, like what was sort of on like the cutting edge of metal. Not really the cutting edge anymore by 1990s.
It was a changing of the times. You had more comparatively extreme groups that were getting attention, like Metallica, Slayer, and Megadeth, and a lot of people felt Judas Priest and their kind of metal was more passe. So Judas Priest evolved and showed that they could still do it, and that was Painkiller was the result of that.
Exactly. And that's something that I really respect about them because they saw a new style and they're like, let's do that.
Fuck yeah.
And so that I heavily respect that, and it worked out great for them. Painkiller is a really good album. Also, Screaming for Vengeance was the first Judas Priest album I listened to. And so Defenders of the Faith. I even like Ram It Down. Many people don't, but I do. But like, yeah. And I even like Rockarola, which is Judas Priest's like first album that's not even metal. It's like just a hard rock album from like 1974. But that's a pretty good album too. But yeah, I got into Judas Priest, and I think Judas Priest was sort of how I got into Megadeth, like as much as I did, because even though I had listened to Megadeth before Judas Priest, I sort of understood Megadeth better by listening to Judas Priest, and I don't really understand. I don't really know why, but there's some kind of like, I guess it's just the way their compositional style isn't similar, but it's like they go in a similar direction. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I listened to Judas Priest and got really into Megadeth. Then I got right into Slayer. Never got really into Anthrax that much, which is kind of a shame because I'm from New York and they're from New York. But
you traitor!
It's been years since I've listened to Anthrax.
Never really got into them, but Slayer, I was kind of obsessed with them for a little while. And then like from Slayer, I remember like I started listening to Pantera, and then I'm trying to remember. There's that, and then there was Testament.
Oh yeah, I found Testament because me and my, again, heavy metal obsessed brother were walking through the mall and there was this metal store nearby. This was only a couple years ago. This was not how I got into thrash metal. I was already a metalhead at this time. And around then, they were playing Souls of Black on the radio. And then my brother told me what the band was. And then I was automatically obsessed with Testament.
Nice. Yeah, Testament is really important for me because like I was at that point I was only into like the new wave of British heavy metal and thrash metal. And it kind of became clear to me that thrash metal had a lot of like limitations musically. And even though I was getting into other like the Teutonic Big Four, I started wanting like more because like I remember listening to Creator and like one of their, I think it was like an album from 1990, 92 or something. I can't remember, but I remember thinking, wow, I think this would have blown my mind if I hadn't listened to Rust in Peace first. I remember thinking that, and I was thinking like, man, maybe I should try like expanding where I go with metal from here. And so Testament and was like a really integral part of that like move to a different styles of metal, because Testament kind of pulled a Judas Priest in the late 90s, where they decided that they were going to make a death metal album. And the Gathering is like one of the most important albums for me in that regard, because it's like the perfect transitioning point from like thrash metal to more extreme forms of metal, because it just, the way it's introduced is like really smooth. Um, and there were two albums that got me into death metal. It was The Gathering by Testament and then Seven Churches by Possessed. And after that, I went full on into like death metal. Um, and of course, everybody's got to listen to Death, so I did that. And Obituary became a band that I really liked, and um, a little bit of Cannibal Corpse and Dying Fetus.
I know who Dying Fetus is too.
Yeah, the only reason why I laugh is because whenever my brother and I would mention Dying Fetus, we would say it in the Wilford Brimley voice because it sounds like diabetes. So Dying Fetus. Yeah. And like, and then I started just experimenting with like anything. So I remember I would listen to Napalm Death, who are famous for having like, well, I don't know if they still do. I'm pretty sure they do though. It's like the shortest song ever recorded. Like, yeah, Napalm Death, and at some point I got into Exhumed, and like of course I got into a band that a lot of people don't like apparently, but Behemoth.
I like
ended up-
Behemoth. Like,
Okay,
Behemoth
okay.
mixed black and death metal together. That's fucking
Yeah.
good shit.
Yeah, okay. That's good to know. I listen to, like, whenever I listen to whatever, someone who likes metal or whatever talking about bands they don't like or whatever, and they mention Behemoth and like, I hate them. I hate them. I'm calling out the heavy metal gamer. No, no. You can put them in your tags. That'll help your SEO. No, but like, yeah, Behemoth I got into, and there's a band called Chthonic that I got into also. Just like I was just taking a grab bag of like all these different forms of like extreme metal and just listening to all of it. And of course, like what helped me get into like a band like Chthonic was the fact that I also liked Marty Friedman's solo stuff. And Marty Friedman collaborated with the singer from Chthonic for their Metal Clone X project, which is only like 2 albums, but it was pretty cool. And which is also a heavy metal project. And then it was around that time too when Marty Friedman released Inferno, and that album was like a huge thing. And of course, you know, there was like baby metal that I got, and I ended up getting into for a little bit until I kind of fell off with them. But there was X Japan that I got into as well. Who I mean, they're just so different, especially from like the '90s stuff, compared to what was happening in like my favorite bands at the same time, like before that. It was really interesting to listen to what they were doing, but it was still really cool. A lot of ballad stuff, which is kind of funny because that's what Marty Friedman liked them for, and I kind of understand why, because they're just really good at that.
Yeah.
And but then the one genre of metal that stuck with me the most, to the chagrin of my bandmates at the time, was drone metal. I really unironically got into drone metal. I would listen, if there was a version of For Whom the Bell Tolls I would listen to, it would be FWTBT, and that was Sun's cover of For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is like 14 minutes long, and it's I guess if you sped it up fast enough, it would sound like this song, but because it's just drone metal, it's just like a wall of noise. And I really got into it.
Fun fact, when you speed it up, it's almost as fast as Cody gets done releasing a nut.
There you go. Maybe there was this one meme
Joey,
video I remember.
why are you so obsessed with me? Are you in love with me? Are you gay for me? You want to suck on my nuts? Because that's how it sounds right now.
If I wanted to touch your little 2 inches, I would.
That's 2 more inches than what you have.
So I'm gonna guess you guys have listened to Teeny Weeny, right? Do you know that song?
I do not.
I don't. The only song I know about a dick is Bowling for Soup's My Weena, but that's not metal. That's pop punk.
Hang on. Let me look up what their Oh, is it? Oh.
Did someone
That's
die?
Interesting. No. I can't even find them. There's this band, this like extreme like death metal or like brutal death metal band called Bro Job. And
holy shit.
Bro Job has a song called Teeny Weeny, and it is really funny.
Sounds funny.
It goes hard too. Check it out. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it doesn't go as hard as Cody after hearing the title of that song.
There you go.
Mad Matt
Why
said,
Why are we friends? Why are we friends again?
Because I'm funny.
Oh yeah, you're funny, all right. Funny looking.
Mad Matt said, I have a bit of a sore throat, guys. I will name off my favorite bands. 1, Judas Priest. 2, Wasp. 3, King Diamond / Merciful Fate. 3, Sanctuary /
It's Sanctuary.
Santexual, whatever. November. I got a dyslexia, okay? 5, Accept / UDO. 6, Death. 7, Bathory. I know most of those bands, and yeah, I'm a fan of those as well. Megadeth's really good too, so with some really good, with Slayer and pre-Black Album Metallica. Yeah, and I was wondering where you were, Matt. The source probably explains where you been.
Yeah, about as sore as Joey's throat when he sucks Aaron's cock.
And that's still not as sore as your ass after you get done taking it.
Damn it, I thought I had him, but he came back.
He always has a comeback.
Yeah, I do have a comeback.
Yeah,
on
there you
your
go.
mom's face.
Why do it? I mean, I know why do it, but why do it?
But anyway, continue, Jiku.
Oh, we're actually getting kind of towards the end, I think. Finally, I think, yeah. So I was kind of all over the place, and I listened. I think the last album that I picked up before, like, I started exploring.
You're not nearly as all over the place as Joey is when he goes streaking.
There you go. But yeah, I think the last metal album I picked up before I started like exploring the music outside of metal was Serpents Unleashed by Skeleton Witch. And that's a really good album though.
Yeah.
It's a really good one to sort of I guess go out on, so to speak. Although, I never really like got out of metal or anything, but there came a point where I just thought I wanted to, explore styles of music that weren't just like, you know, one style, and so I kind of went on my merry way, so to speak, and I got into like a bunch of other music, but I still listened to a lot of my favorite bands from metal, and I still do, of course. But um,
Mad
man,
respect.
when I was in high school, man, I was like deep into the whole metal thing, and I think. Do you guys know J.Hoff films by any chance?
The name sounds slightly familiar, but not too sure.
Same.
Okay. So J.Hoff Films is a YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure they're still around. I don't know if they're making videos much anymore. But actually I'm gonna check really quick. J.Hoff Films. Let's see. Nah, they're done, I think. But back in like 2013, 2014, these guys were on a roll. And their whole thing was how to be a blank metal vocalist. And their most famous one is how to be a thrash metal vocalist. And it's like there's just like these comedy skits, and it's like it's really funny. They do a really good job at stereotyping different, like, the fans of different styles of metal. Like people who are just devoted to like the one subgenre of metal. So like, they have the thrash guy, they have the death metal guy, they have the metalcore guy, they have the deathcore guy, they have the um what was it? They have a glam metal one. They even have like grunge, uh, where it's just like all Kurt Cobain jokes.
Wow. Do they shoot
You
their
know,
mouth off about it?
like
Oh!
those kinds of jokes. Exactly. Yes.
I was actually fighting to keep myself from saying it. I was thinking of all
No.
these Kurt Cobain jokes, and I was like, no, I can't say it. That's wrong.
Yeah. No. It's just that. Yeah. It's like this was back before, when you could be like super edgy on YouTube and make those kinds of jokes and get away with it. Um, how to be a brutal death metal vocalist. Oh man, and how to be a deathcore vocalist, and it's like all kind of like gay undertones, like.
That sounds like this podcast in a nutshell.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
You're not wrong.
How to be a black metal vocalist? Yeah, how to be a pop punk vocalist? It's really funny. Back in the day, it was kind of like if you were there when they were kind of like in the metal zeitgeist, they were like the modern day like Spinal Tap, kind of.
Nice.
Would definitely recommend it. They do a really good job at capturing the like capturing a parodic version of just like the metal landscape at the time. And yeah, it's just really cool. That was part of my metal uprising or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, but yeah. Really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Pizzle.
Yeah. Also, if you're ready, if you're finished with your story, I would like to go deeper into how I got into the more extreme metal stuff, because I don't feel like
Oh, you like to go deeper, all right.
like I do in your mom.
She always had a thing for retards.
But onto the whole extreme metal stuff. It's extreme metal and new metal, because I feel like I dived into how I got into metal enough, but I also want to dive into how I got into new metal and some more hardcore stuff. When it came to new metal, before with Slipknot, I would like to say I got into Linkin Park first, because generally what got me into stuff like Linkin Park was it was different. You had, like, I don't like rap music. I still do not till this day. But mixed with metal, I always felt like it had this more neat sound to it. And when you had these more heavy vocals, guitars, DJ, and rapping mixed together, that caught my attention. So then when I started to explore more new metal, like Drowning Pool was first, and then but I didn't know they were new metal at the time. And then I would go into stuff like Slipknot and so on. Which like I said earlier, how I got into stuff like Drowning Pool and a lot of other metal bands basically spawned from wrestling. From the video games with stuff like Rise Against and 3 Days Grace to the actual show with stuff like Drowning Pool with Rise Up and such. And then when it comes to hardcore, I think Sum 41 technically would qualify as a blend of metalcore and pop punk. That's been one of the things I liked about them. And I got to mention this. That came from none other than Godzilla Final Wars. And let me show the clip that got me interested in a lot of other Godzilla fans, because this was another important thing that kind of got me into also got me into rock and metal. And that is this clip from Godzilla Final Wars when Toho was basically putting a fuck you against the American Godzilla from 1998 by putting him in with them. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Don't hurt yourself now.
Let me get another video because this thing's wanting to fucking fight me. But this
we all know the clip you're talking about, broski. We're all Godzilla fans here.
Yeah, but I wanna turn it on because I'm a fanboy. So.
Oh, I'm a fan of the scene too. For very different reasons.
This scene's too awesome to ignore for multiple reasons. Godzilla versus Zilla. This was another reason on how
relies on Spectrum Business to keep her shop connected.
This is the reason why?
No.
Gotta get that YouTube Premium, boy. I haven't seen an ad on YouTube in years.
Oh, fuck.
The Spectrum Business Connect phone system and mobile service.
I cannot live.
So how's this working out for you, Joey?
Oh, fuck off.
At Spectrum Business. No nonsense. Just business.
That's still one of my favorite scenes ever.
That's probably one of the best tantrums I've ever seen an actor throw.
Yes, he's a very over-the-top villain. He's like Emperor Palpatine. 98 fans fucking despise that scene, but us Godzilla fans just sit there and laugh our ass off at it because Toho just threw the biggest middle finger at the American film ever.
Why hate the scene? Like, bruh, it's just, I don't know. That's so weird. Oh man, I like Godzilla 98, so I'm obligated to hate this scene. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, even though that Godzilla got taken down by missiles, of course the Toho one's gonna obliterate it.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about
metal! But that scene's what got me into the band Sum 41, which I know Sum 41 has some more pop punk songs like In Too Deep, but songs like We're All to Blame, I always associated more with metal. Am I alone in that regard?
Wait, there's discussion about whether or not We're All to Blame is a metal song or not?
No, I don't know. I just don't know if that's considered metal.
I fully consider it a metal song. It has the distorted guitars, it has the strong drum sound, a great bass line, the aggressive vocals, and the fast-paced tempo that you need for a metal song.
Yeah, I just seen some people say it wasn't metal, but here's the thing. That gets said about everything. I seen someone say Slipknot's pop music, and it's like, okay, dipshit.
Those are the kind of people I was talking about before. Those people who are only into the most extreme subgenres of metal, who say that anyone who likes things that could be even considered mainstream are posers. Nah, you're the fucking posers who refuse to accept the fact that metal had its roots in mainstream rock music from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, exactly. But, and I think Sum 41 would basically qualify as something like metalcore, like very light metalcore. It's not one of the more heavy types. And then I started to get more into the more death metal stuff because of my brother. And the funny thing is, I hate admitting this shit because it's so cringy, but when I was a little kid, I used to think the more heavier stuff like death metal, I used to think that shit was demonic. And
Wow.
yeah, I know. I want to fucking go back and stab myself. But then because when my brother got into stuff like that, I was like, "Oh, you like death metal?" It's like, why was I making a big deal out of that shit? But then I was listening to bands like Venom, which, do you guys know Venom?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
the first black metal band.
Yeah, yes. And at first I was kind of intimidated by listening to them, but since I was a rebellious little shit, I wanted to check out more of their stuff, and then I got hooked on them, and then I started listening to other quote-unquote satanic death metal bands like Morbid Angel and such.
Okay, if I may,
Hmm?
I should have, if I may, I shouldn't have given you shit before about thinking death metal was satanic, because I'll admit I did two at first when my sister tried to show it to me. Yes, I was that dumb, but then I opened up my mind to it, opened up for a broader view, and it's just like there are some bands that do sing about satanic themes,
Like
but
Venom and Morbid Angel.
yeah, so I could see where the confusion would come in, and also the fact that more extreme genres of metal that you're not used to, that you're being exposed to the first time, you're not entirely sure what to make of it, because I sure wasn't sure what to make of it myself. But just because someone's death metal doesn't mean that they're satanic.
Yeah, exactly. Even then, I don't give a fuck. Like, I love bands like Venom these days, and I think the stuff like the satanic metal album covers, I think that shit's cool now. But then again, I'm not a religious hack anymore. Now, to be fair, I was a little kid. Religious kids, I feel, are more prone to be religious hacks because they're paranoid.
Right.
But when you're an adult, and I'm not religious at all anymore, but I think even religious adults, for the most part, unless you're a stupid ass Jehovah's Witness or some shit, I think you will grow to like, I think you will generally accept stuff like Venom for what it is too.
Well, maybe. People have different tastes and different moods and preferences and all that, so there's always going to be people who like one thing but may not necessarily like the other, even if it seems to you like it would make sense to like that one thing because it's sort of like the thing that other guy's into. So I know it's complicated, but human beings are complicated, and so is the metal genres in a good way.
Oh yeah, when it comes to music, like, art in general tends to be subjective, but music I put on a level of food, as music's even more so, if that makes sense. Because
For sure.
because music in general, like you could say a movie or something is so bad it's good, but I don't think you could say a song is so bad it's good, because like
You never heard 80s top 40 then.
well, for me, music in general is just about like it is whether or not it's your cup of tea and such. Like, I could like an acting style in a movie, but like I could like Tommy Wiseau's acting in The Room, but it's still terrible. Alice said, question: what is your thoughts on the Godzilla versus Monkey series on YouTube? If you have watched it, I'm not entirely sure if you have. I have not watched that. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, that is just something about music, which is why I haven't done much. I haven't done any videos or podcasts on music till now, because I don't feel like there's much to do this essay thing. But I do love music. I love music just as much. I just don't know how I would approach it other than doing it in a podcast-like topic.
Well, I'm glad you brought it on here because so far this has been great in my opinion.
Yeah, what do you think, Jiku?
If there's a song that's so bad it's good.
Well, I was asking if you were enjoying yourself here, since this is your first time, but that too.
Oh yeah, no. I was trying to think of, is there a song that I think is so bad it's good, and I'm still thinking about that. But yeah, no, this is good. It's engaging for me because it kind of sends me back to a pretty nostalgic time, like 10 years ago, actually, ironically enough, like the memes and stuff. All
sure.
the memes. My brother was famous for making metal memes back in the day. But yeah, no. I've been trying to look for like a song that's so bad that it's good.
Like, you can call a song a guilty pleasure, but I don't think that's the same as so bad it's good. Like, for example, Donny Osmond's I'll Make a Man Out of You for Mulan. It's cheesy in terms of the lyrics, and I don't get the confidence to go out in public and say, yeah, I'm listening to this shit. But I can't call it a bad song. It's a good song. The theme is catchy. It's fun to listen to. It overall does its job. It's just cheesy, so...
Oh, I know a So Bad It's Good song.
Did your mom sing it to you as a lullaby you got last night?
No, yours did. Anyways, it's that one song, you know. Oh, Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine. You blow my mind. Hey, Mickey.
Oh, I hate that song. I like Weird Al's parody of it because it's funny.
I think the song itself is funny because of just how overly bubbly and overly produced it is, and how cheery, I guess, the lyrics are. Wow, look, I love 80s cheese as much as the next guy, but even I know there's a limit. That song is the limit. It is so bad that it's funny, which to me means it's so bad that it's good.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah,
I can see what you mean there.
Yeah, songs like that I would consider so bad it's good songs.
Yeah.
I mean,
but wait.
I'm just trying to think, like, what would constitute a bad song? Like, if it's something that's like really like melodramatic or like over the top.
Yeah, that's why I never really reviewed music, because for me, just like reviewing a sandwich, like, I love food, I love drinks, but a lot like music, a lot like food and drinks, while I love them and I can mention what I like about them, I don't know how I would go into, oh, this is a good song, or, oh, this is a bad song.
Jiku,
Right.
I got a question for you. You say if it's overly dramatic, it could be considered a bit of a bad song.
If it's melodramatic. I mean, if it I call it thrashing, and it's not like the thrash metal term I'm using, but thrashing like a computer term where the computer is doing so much it's thrashing and it freezes because it doesn't know what it's doing. It just ran out of resources.
Right.
It's just like kind of or it's like so like sentimental it makes you just want to die.
I got a few songs in my head of what that might be, and I wanted to see if you would agree that these songs fit that mold.
Sure.
Who wants to live forever by Queen?
You know, you could just put all of Queen in that category. I don't like Queen.
Oh,
I like
blasphemy.
Yes.
When I hear "We Will Rock You," how I was I think one of the things that introduced me to that was because I saw an old King Kong versus Godzilla music video that was uploaded to YouTube just of the fight with that song playing, and I don't understand why it was added to that scene, because it's like, what does fucking "We Will Rock You" have to do with Big Monkey versus Big Lizard from 1962?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like Queen.
But
I used
Queen's
to.
awesome.
I used to when I was in high school, but then I found out that all Queen really was to anybody was Bohemian Rhapsody and We Will Rock You. The two most boring songs in Queen's whole lineup. And
Those aren't the most boring.
They're boring to me. Like, Bohemian Rhapsody is boring because it's just all over the place, everywhere, at all times. And it's like, oh wow, I've never heard this before. Or like, there's that Fat Bottomed Girls song that plays on the radio, like on those rock radios, nothing but rock or whatever, you know. Which I'm like that. It's just so tacky. At least for me, I don't know. I'd rather listen to like a modern song talking about fat bottomed girls than Queen. But maybe that's just me. But like,
We all
I don't
we
know.
all know if you want a big ass, you'll just go for Cody here.
He doesn't know me.
You're
That makes no
easy,
sense.
bro.
Not as easy as your mom.
Oh, wow. Always got to bring your mom into it.
Hey, he started it.
Oh no, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, man, it always comes back to moms, man.
That's
Like,
because your mom jokes are the easiest, laziest jokes you can make.
yeah, I mean, to be fair, if you're into MILFs, then I mean, like,
Hey, there's some good looking MILFs out there, and Cody's mom
Sure.
just so happens to be one of them.
There you go.
I'm going to tell her you said that.
No shame.
Good. Give her my number.
Wait, no, don't you already have her on speed dial?
That is true. That is true.
I work with children.
Oh man, that's great. Yeah, I'm not a huge Queen fan.
Uncultured swine.
Like the Queen song that I stood behind, that I would die on the hill for the longest time, was March of the Black Queen.
Huh.
Right on.
Do you know that song?
Yeah.
Okay. I felt that was a better Bohemian Rhapsody than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Fair enough. I'll
But-
be honest, I was never huge on Queen. I think they're fine, but We Will Rock You was really the only song that truly hit with me.
Yeah, I like thongs too. No, I'm just kidding.
So you're telling me
But-
neither of you motherfuckers like Stone Cold Crazy,
No,
Princess
it's
of the
fine.
Universe, Who Wants to Live Forever, Made in Heaven, Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Okay, Made in Heaven. All right. I'll give you that one. That one's okay. I can listen to that one still.
I can listen to all of Queen's songs. It's just that they're not a band I turn on constantly. They're like something I could listen to, but I'm not huge on. They're like the Beastie Boys in that regard. Is I can listen to the Beastie Boys, but I'm not huge on the Beastie Boys.
Oh, the Beastie Boys. That's good.
Well, you see, I would respect that. However, I'm a big old man child, so I mean, I automatically hate you both for not automatically loving every single that I love. So fuck you all. I'm going home. Oh wait, I am home.
Isn't your mother already a common ground we got?
Oh.
Fuck you.
No, chill.
Alice said, "Question: Show me a YouTube or that you highly recommend." I'm guessing you say YouTube. I'm not gonna bash your grammar, I think, because I have shit grammar. I'm gonna say that right now. I type fast all the time, and I'm dyslexic.
Oh come on,
I'm gonna
Joey.
assume you
Speak good
mean-
English like what I do.
But I'm guessing you say, "Question: Show me a YouTuber that you highly recommend I should watch." Do you mean a music YouTuber? If so, I would recommend G.N.O's channel, I don't know, and his Facebook page, Mr. Ranting Randy. He recently uploaded his older stuff too. But
Yeah, I'm still in
gonna
the
guess-
process of uploading stuff. I don't want to get too into it, but I made a mistake when I transferred my old videos. I transferred it to a very loud external hard drive, and I can't listen to that drone for a long time, or else it will drive me crazy. Which is why I've been putting off uploading old stuff to my Facebook page like I should.
Ugh.
I know that feeling. I know what it feels to put something off, especially when I get hired and I have all this work ahead of me. I get overwhelmed easily, so I just sit down. I just want to sit down and fucking die when I have all this work in front of my face.
Mm.
Yeah, it's like, no, where do I start?
Yeah, for me, it's like that external drive. I mean, it works and it's reliable, but it's just loud. and it resonates with
But
my
if you're
table, and it But
Yeah.
eventually, I'll start little by little it'll start trickling out onto the Facebook page and all that stuff.
Okay, Alistair. I mean just a Godzilla YouTuber or just a YouTuber in general. Okay, I could recommend you some of my influence. Act Man, he makes some really good gaming content, and once in a while he'll review a movie, an anime series, or he'll do something drama related. Angry Joe's pretty good. Watch re-uploads of Leafy is Here videos and his current streams on Rumble. Dude's fucking hilarious. He says a lot of off-the-wall shit like I do. I would also recommend GojiFan93. He recently made a new YouTube channel. Used to be really fucking big back in the day, and he seems to be growing that back. Who else would I recommend? Cody's mom. She uploads our sex videos to her YouTube channel, so I'll take that.
You know,
That was forced, and you know it.
No, that was smooth. The way that delivery was perfect in my opinion, I think.
Thank you. I would also recommend I'm not gonna recommend James Ralph. Everybody knows who fucking James Ralph is. What else?
Your mom Rolf's got the idea of having you as a son.
Okay, what else? Abroad in Japan, if you're looking for some Japanese vlogger type content, he's pretty entertaining. He had people like Ken Watanabe and Hyde on his channel once, and it's pretty interesting and enjoyable. Titan Goji makes good content. What else? There's a lot of YouTubers I watch, but I'll just say go and check out the ones that I recommended. There's plenty of really good ones out there. What do you, Toku Punk Production says, what do you think of Finn McKennedy? I don't know who that is. Do you guys?
I think he writes articles on the website Metal Sucks.
Oh, I heard of that website.
They don't actually think that metal sucks. It's just a clever name, and they talk about metal music on there and everything.
Yeah. I always seen that name. I was wondering, why the fuck do you guys call yourself that when you're literally a metal journalist site?
Just as a joke.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's like it's one of the memes of metal culture from like the 20 teens. I think it's just like, yeah, it's a meme.
Okay, that explains everything. That explains everything.
I remember Axel Rosenberg. I don't know if he's still on that site though. I mean, I still see him like listed as like a contributor, but I don't think he does the same kind of editorial stuff that he used to.
Yeah. Speaking of a name similar to Axl Rose, I'm gonna speak of Axl Rose himself. You all see the funny shit that man does.
Oh,
like
no.
what for example?
Like, for example, like, he has a short temper, and it's funny. Like, one time, a fan was doing something stupid in the audience, and he was yelling security to take him out, and security wasn't doing their job, so he jumped in the crowd and said, "Then I'll take him, goddammit!"
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He beat up a guy because he had a camera and was pirating the show.
Yeah, got that. I'll take him, goddammit! And he jumped right in the crowd.
You know, remember when James Hetfield lit himself on fire and Axl Rose didn't like that he felt he got upstaged by Metallica, performed 2 songs and just quit?
Yes,
I remember.
I like Guns N' Roses, but let's be honest, Axl is unhinged.
He's a fucking asshole.
He's the worst.
Yes. He's always been known to be the worst. Like, people like Vince Neil are known to kind of have a asshole side to them, but nothing too bad. Axl Rose is the one I've consistently heard is a complete dick.
It's funny you mentioned that because Axl Rose and Vince Neil almost got in a fist fight. Like, I think Axl Rose publicly challenged Vince Neil, and Vince Neil said he was going to do it, but then they just ended up not doing it. And those fuckers hate each other to this day.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah.
Remember when Axl Rose, he was trying to get into like a fight with Kurt Cobain?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard about that shit. And I don't know why he had issue with Kurt Cobain. Kurt was seemed like a pretty down to earth guy.
Well, from
I mean-
what I understand is he wanted Guns N' Roses and Nirvana to tour together, but you see, at the time, grunge was just coming into its own, and for some reason, a lot of the grunge acts of the time, as they started getting bigger, started to distance themselves from their metal influences from bands like Guns N' Roses, and they start to like shit on the older metal generation. So publicly in interviews. So when Axl Rose asked him for a public tour, Kurt Cobain told him to fuck off, and ever since then, they ended up not liking each other.
Oh, okay, that explains it. Alice said, "Here's a YouTuber I really recommend if you're looking for movie reviews, and you could do it." And it would be Possum Reviews. I heard of Possum Reviews. I haven't watched him, but I have considered giving him a watch. You guys probably know who that is because I've seen him on my feed a lot. Just I never clicked.
It's not metal. It's not on topic, so I don't give a fuck.
I haven't heard of it actually.
You haven't heard of Possum Reviews? I'm surprised. I never watched Possum Reviews, but they've been in my recommendations a lot.
I mean, to be fair, I'm on a whole new YouTube or a whole new Google account. So the recommendations I used to get, I don't get anymore. I have to rebuild from the bottom. So most of what I have are gaming content and car reviews. Pretty much all I have right now. So I'm still working on rebuilding the husk of what used to be.
And back on the metalcore topic though, you guys know I'm a pervy motherfucker, and I always has been.
Oh no, not at all.
So one of the bands that also got me into metalcore, like I think I got into I Set to Kill first, alongside some other bands, but one of them that I got into was this band got In This Moment. Who did metalcore, and one of the things that got me into them, outside of their song "Beautiful Tragedy," was the singer Maria Branks showing her ass, and I was like, I'm really liking this band. That's what it was like for me as a kid, and that helped get my metalcore journey up further.
Well, that's not the only thing that was getting up I guess, but
Cody's mom gets it up even further.
Oh, that's actually, yeah, that's pretty funny because like I don't know if that I would call that like a pervy thing, because I mean, like, let's be real, why do people watch or why do people enjoy K-pop so much?
Oh yeah, that is true, because honestly, like, let's be honest, another thing that, like, it's never the full thing that gets you into the art, but I do think having an attractive person there ups our interest in it. Like it's not the main reason I prefer for Asian media, but it adds to my reason for enjoying Asian media.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it's pretty funny, but I mean, but then like you could just, I mean, you're not going to get into Metallica because those guys are good looking.
No. Let's see. You want to suck Jim to Hetfield off there, Joey?
They are, but I.
Well, yeah, that's why I said it's never the main reason to like something. Like, if something's terrible, it's not gonna get you into it.
Joey's gay for Metallica confirmed.
But it is gonna up your interest in it. And I think that's really, like, most people ain't willing to admit even that because they want to act like that they're this wholesome, godly beings. But I think it's just in human nature to get extra enjoyment when a person you find attractive is involved.
Sure.
That makes sense.
I mean, shoot, even, it was funny. I don't know if you guys have ever watched the Megadeth Behind the Music, like the extended version, but there was there was a part where Marty Friedman was like, I wanted the band to go in this direction. Maybe, let's get some girls in our music videos. And like they never did, but as soon as Marty Friedman was out, then they did the Moto Psycho music video, which had a bunch of girls in it, and they weren't even like scantily clad, but MTV banned that music video from their channel because it was too edgy or something like that.
Oh
And
my.
Dave was like really salty about it. He's like, you have these like hip hop music videos where you have these girls with like nickels over their nipples, but then you have this video where like you have some chubby girls with their shirts cut and you can't show that.
That's a legit critique, in my opinion.
It
I
is.
think so too.
Yeah, it is. It is. But wait, kind of speaking of music videos like that, I remember when I got into the band Zebrahead and I listened to this song called Playmate of the Year. And if you guys know that song, you've seen the music video, and that shit. I was watching. I was just like, ooh.
You know
Very
what?
nice.
I don't know if I've seen that. What's the song?
Playmate of the Year. It's by the band Zebrahead.
Zebrahead. Oh, I know Zebrahead. Hang on a second. Zebrahead. Weren't they the ones who did the theme song to Sonic 06?
I think so. I did hear something like that. They also sung the song "Everything's Falling Apart." They kind of do something similar to Linkin Park, where you got a rapper and a
Yeah.
normal vocalist. Just
Yeah,
the rapper
they
does
did.
rapcore and the normal vocalist does pop punk.
Yeah, they did the theme song for Sonic 06. His World. And that's a pretty good song, but I think Crush 40 did it better.
Yeah. And
No
earlier you
kidding.
mentioned Fish. What'd you say?
Wait, what?
Did you say something?
Oh, no.
Tokupunk Productions says, I love Zebrahead. Yeah, Zebrahead's really good. I've always been a fan of stuff like that. I've got a wide taste in music. As well, this podcast is dedicated to metal. I've got a wide interest. Like, I love metal music, basically all genres. I love rock music in general, including old 60s, what's the word I'm looking for? 60s rock and roll with bands like the Monkees. I said I liked the Monkees in a chat with a few goofy ass friends, and they laughed at me, and I was like, what's wrong with the Monkees?
It's strictly the name. It's strictly the name that they're making fun of.
Yeah. And I also like stuff like
You like Motown?
Who's Motown?
Motown, music from the record company known as Motown. You know, like the Supremes, Wilson Pickett, Sammy Davis.
Yes. Oh yes. I also like J-pop. J-pop, it took me a while to get into. K-pop, it depends. Like there's a lot of K-pop that sounds like garbage we got here, but I've also heard some genuinely different / good K-pop music. So I'm more picky with that. Country is a lot like K-pop in the way that it's hit and miss for me. Like there's some country I like, some country I don't. Pop everywhere else can fuck off unless it's pop rock, pop punk, or glam metal. Rap can fuck off unless it's rap rock, rap metal, new metal, etc. No matter where
it goes on and on and on and on.
Oh yeah, I like that song. I forgot the name of the band, but
Journey.
Yeah, Journey. I like that song too. Heavy Metal Gamer doesn't, because he posted on his Facebook of how they're gay as fuck or something.
Well, he's
You
an
know what?
uncultured swine.
Well, you know what? I'm right there with them. No, I don't think they're gay or anything, but I was never a huge fan of them.
That's fair. I don't listen to them 24/7, but I do like their music. And speaking of Heavy Metal Gamer, he's a cool guy. I think he's funny. He has this very shit posty like mouth, and obviously I find that shit funny. And he's pretty chill too.
I like he's like the one of the only YouTubers I can find who still does like that really like old school style of video game review.
Yeah, that stuff
where
like
it's
Classic Game Room and CJR Undertow used to do.
Yeah, like sub 10-minute. Nowadays, if you're making gaming content, it's like, here's a brief review of Fallout 3, and it's like 17 hours long. It's like,
yeah,
nobody's
exactly.
gonna watch that. That's not brief. I know it's a joke, but no, it's not funny. Like, no, I'm not watching that.
Yeah. I can't watch a video that's even over 2 hours, and that's stretching it. My comfort zone is between 10 minutes and an hour.
I
Any
thought your
more?
comfort zone was between Aaron's legs.
Oh my god.
Wow. You gotta be careful.
Joey, why do you hurt me?
Because it's fun.
Oh, okay.
But before we go, do you guys have anything else you want to talk about? I love these types of podcasts, so I'm willing to go longer. Just
I will.
don't want you guys to just keep going and you're like, oh, I want to go, but I don't want to say anything or anything like that.
Well, I did have
Well,
an idea.
Yeah, go for it.
Why don't we talk about if we've gone to any metal shows, like seen some acts that were live or anything?
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
I used to watch this thing called Rock 'em Ring. I think that's what it's called. And I was
Yeah.
watching that shit when it was new and right on YouTube. And that shit, like, it was the closest thing as a kid to actually experiencing something like that to me.
But you
'Cause
never gone to a concert?
No, I haven't. I want to. But I actually haven't gotten around to it. I think it should
Even
probably
like
be.
even like local shows.
Nope, no, didn't really have any local shows. Like one time there was Alice Cooper that was at a park near me, but I was a little kid and I didn't have the money to go to it. Haven't heard anything about anybody coming near me recently at all, so haven't really had the chance to.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to come to Ohio because we suck.
Not even Cleveland, where the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is?
Well, Cleveland is quite far, so...
And plus, well, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a fucking joke anyway, so not really something to brag about.
Yeah, but I have watched concerts online, and I still do once in a while to this day. I find them to be pretty enjoyable, but physically, nah.
Oh.
But what about you guys? You guys, tell me about your concert experiences, because I'm not the only host here.
You want to go first, Jiku?
Sure, yeah, I can. Because I haven't actually been to a whole lot of shows, but the ones that I have been to are pretty funny. Well, because of course I was in a metal band, so I've been on the stage as well as like, in front of it. And I have okay. I'm from a small town. Maybe like 7,000 people, like in total, the population. And we used to play at this it's almost like it's like a dive bar, basically. It's called Lizard's Lounge. This really small like building that was probably built in like 1860 or something. The fact that it's still standing kind of blows my mind. But we would perform there with a band. We would open for a band called Dead End. And when we were playing, we would play a lot of like Metallica and Megadeth songs, their earlier stuff, not their newer stuff, as well as our own like original stuff, of course. And we would always have after the show, like while we were like putting our stuff away and we would stay to watch Dead End play, we would always have like at least these one or two like I don't want to say girls because they were moms come up to us and like
Cody's.
no, but they were like moms and like aunts of like classmates of ours, and they're like hitting on us because they're like really drunk and stuff, and that was really bizarre. You have to imagine you're like 15 years old, and here you have like a 45-year-old drunk mom of one of your classmates.
Wow.
Flirting with you or something. Or
hey, hey, beginner shit. I had older moms hitting on me since I was fucking 9.
Well, that's good for you, I guess. I mean, it's obviously it's because of the alcohol, but it's like, dang, bruh. But like, that actually made me kind of not want to play music live anymore because it was just like so weird.
Oh no.
it was like it was very strange because like these weren't attractive people.
Oh,
They were
ew.
people who like peaked in like '92 and thought they still kind of had it, like that sort of
Pedos
thing.
never
Like,
are attractive.
it's like, you peaked in high school. I can definitely tell. But as far as like live shows I've gone to, I think probably like my biggest bragging right that I have is that I saw the Big Four.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw the Big Four in New York City in 2011 at Yankee Stadium,
Oh,
and
wow.
that was really cool. We saw, Anthrax, Megadeth, Slayer, and Metallica. And actually, Megadeth were going to cancel that show because Dave needed neck surgery, really badly, and
Oh.
he had like a neck brace on and everything. But he decided to, at the last minute, to not cancel and just go on anyway because someone in like the New York press was like mocking him for it. But
What a
so
dick.
we saw the Big Four, and that was a really cool, yeah. How New York, man, that's how it is sometimes. It was probably like Howard Stern or something, but
New York, I heard, is worse than
yeah,
Ohio.
New York. It could be. I mean, New York City, man. I've seen some weird stuff, and that's not even the weirdest stuff you can see in New York. But the Big Four was a really fun show. But I think even though that was like a really cool experience because you got to see like, all those bands in one place. At the same time, we also, like a couple of years later, Megadeth used to have this tour called Gigantour. And after they released Super Collider, they did Gigantour 2013, and it ended up being the last Gigantour they ever did. It was basically like this music festival they would do, where they would tour with a bunch of bands. Dave Mustaine would hand pick bands to open for Megadeth for that show. And one of the bands that opened for Megadeth in Gigantour 2013 was Jason Newsted's band. And Dave Mustaine actually came out and played with Jason Newsted for a song. And so you got to see like the ex Metallica bassist and ex Metallica guitarist kind of like team up and play a song together.
Epic.
Yeah, and that was pretty cool. We also saw that David Draymond band
Disturbed.
Device.
Oh, and Device.
No,
I know them too.
it was Device, yeah. Because I think Disturbed was on hiatus at that time. And
Yeah, they were.
Mustaine brought David Draymond with him on Gigantour because what was it? Because David Draymond actually sang on one of Megadeth's songs off of Super Collider, which was their new album at the time.
Oh,
And
cool.
so yeah, he brought them along. I saw Vinnie Paul live. He was obviously still alive. So Vinnie Paul, the drummer for Pantera, he was in a band called Hell Yeah at the time. Saw them live. They were pretty cool. The singer had like a mohawk with like pink hair. It was wild. the guy was like amped up. He was pretty great. But when Megadeth came on, there's actually a video of this on YouTube. Dave Mustaine actually called me out, and he made fun of me during that concert, and I'll never forget that. Yeah, it's on YouTube. There's video of it.
You
There's
gotta link that
evidence.
shit.
Yeah, link
Link
it
it
on
on Discord.
Yeah. I gotta find it. Hang on. Yeah, so it was just before they were gonna do their Cold Sweat cover. Yeah. Megadeth Cold Sweat Gigantour 2013. Let me see here. I downloaded the video too, so I would never lose it.
Toku Punk Production says, as it said, bro, find it.
Yes, I'm looking for it. Hang on. I gotta remember what I. Hang on,
Alice
Megadeth.
said, what are your thoughts on the SCP Foundation? I know what it is. I think it's interesting, and there's a lot of movie, video game, and TV show potential of it. There's a lot of creepy shit in those stories too, but I'm not too acquainted with it. If you want to talk to someone who's more into the SCP stuff, Abyss Kaiser knows a lot about that stuff. I know a bit. It's fascinating, but they're basically internet written stories, and when it comes to they're basically books, basically just not published in a book, if that makes sense. And as someone with ADHD, that's not very easy to get to get me on the mindset of doing that, of reading that type of stuff. But I do once in a while, and I do want to explore it more. Do you guys know anything more about the SCP Foundation that I don't?
I just know that it's a bunch of internet stories about this horror themed version of Shield or Monarch or whatever that finds monsters and spirits and stuff and then locks them away from the rest of the world. Ordinarily, I wouldn't comment on it because, again, not on topic, not metal, so I don't give a shit. But in this case, I do know what the SCP Foundation is to an extent. So
yeah,
there you go.
Basically, your knowledge is on the same level as mine when it comes to the SCP. But if you want to talk to people who are on SCP Foundation, just talk to Abyss Kaiser. Like, he's very knowledgeable on that. From what I know, it's creepy, and there's lots of adaptation potential into it.
I want to kind of get into it more, but there's just a whole bunch of other stuff that I'm far more interested in. So even though I keep telling myself I'll delve further into the lore of the SCP Foundation, I probably never really will.
Understandable. It would be easier to get my attention on the SCP stuff if it got adapted, because like I said, I'm not much of a book reader, and while it's technically not a book, you're still doing the same thing you would with a book.
Wait a minute. Does that mean you'll never read any of my books?
No, I plan to. Just I have to be in the right headspace to be able to read a book, especially a novel, since I've got ADHD.
He's not gonna read any of my shit. We're not friends anymore.
But jokes aside, I do plan to. Just gonna take some time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Alice said, same here, I hate reading. Yeah, like, and the funny thing about this is I watch foreign media and I only do subtitles. Like, I'm working on a video on why I hate dub. Currently having my friend
I'll never watch it.
Currently having my friend Zimzilla edit any miswordings in the script and telling me if there's anything I should expand upon, since he's really good with telling that type of thing. But I'm happy with what I got. But even though I'm a subtitle reader, I'm not much of a book reader. I'm much more of a movie, TV show, video game, and music type of person when it comes to art. It got silent and awkward.
No, sorry. I think I found the video.
Okay, good. You want to play it here?
Yeah. Okay. I found the timestamp.
Okay, share your screen and I'll accept it.
Okay, hang on. I gotta. All right. Hang on. Can I put the link in here? How does this work?
Like at the bottom of your StreamYard link, on your StreamYard screen,
you present.
Present.
Okay.
Thank God me and Cody are the only autists here.
Present. Oh, video file? Share screen.
Yep. Autism? I don't got no autism. My mama said I was special.
Let's see. 2 monitors, screen sharing. Okay. Let's go to Megadeth Cold Sweat. Share. All right. Do you guys see it?
Yep. I gotta accept it first. There we go.
Good.
Yep.
All right. So this is him calling me out. Hopefully the volume's okay. He's pointing at me.
Someone's had a little bit too much to drink over here.
Savage motherfucker.
Just once. Tonight, just kidding.
Tonight, no, just kidding.
So, you know when you're playing for an audience and...
That's it. But yeah, he was talking to me.
Savage motherfucker.
That's beautiful.
If you want, I'll put the link to this video in your Discord.
Yeah, go for it.
And then if other people want to see like the performance or whatever, they have that whole concert uploaded to their YouTube channel, so you can check it out.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'll put it in.
You know what you should do? You should kind of clip that scene and upload it as a short to one of your channels.
Yo! Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hell yeah.
I got called out by Dave Mustaine.
Yeah, I think that would get a lot of views, actually.
10 years ago. That was 10 years ago? Should I put it in announcements or Gojin videos?
Well, not Gojin videos, because Gojin videos are just for...
Oh,
Gojin
yeah, for
videos,
you, yeah.
Yeah.
Announcements?
How about music?
Yeah, or either announcements or music.
Okay, yeah, okay.
I'd say music more so, because I think that's more on topic.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, there it is.
Voila.
Man, yeah, that was a great time. That's probably my proudest moment. I have a knack for being just called out by people on stage. I don't know. I mean, it's not metal related, although she does have a metal song. But actually, if you look at G.N.O, which I don't know if you guys noticed.
I'm sub to that. I was your first subscriber.
Yeah. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
On G.N.O, I'm doing like a marathon of Ayaka Nation, and she's called me back onto the stage at one time when I saw her live. I have a weird knack of getting noticed for some reason. I don't know. Maybe I think it has something to do with autism.
The only time Cody ended up getting noticed once, and it was let me get the picture on when Cody was famously noticed once.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this.
What? What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, you remember this picture went viral. A minute, getting like
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, me too.
Like this picture right here, and I think this goes more than anything Jimmy has ever experienced. Here, give me a second. Like this shit. One minute. God, get the screen.
God help me.
What you gotta be proud of it, bro. Like, see, this is your biggest moment in history.
That's a big moment. You know what? That tops everything. I think the only thing that would top that is if you like photoshopped the gorilla suit out and you put it like on top of the World Trade Center when the second plane hit. That would be the only way you could top that.
Thank you. Yeah.
The ultimate.
God fucking damn it. Joey. You filthy, rotten son of a bitch.
I even tried to deliver it in a very serious tone, like I genuinely had something.
I'm not gonna admit, you fooled me. I honestly thought you might have had something. I'm like, wait, what are you talking about?
you know why Dave said I had too much to drink?
Why?
Because you did?
Because I was didn't because I was too young to buy alcohol. We all were. We were I think I was like 18, I think. No, was I 18? I was turning 18, I think. Anyway, we weren't old enough to drink. But like we got these like complimentary cups of water, and I didn't know what to do with mine. I didn't have anywhere to put it. So I was just holding on to it. That's why someone's had too much to drink. I was like,
Oh,
well,
man.
at least my autism turned into something good. So, because I'm like, I don't want to litter.
Give a hoot, don't pollute.
But yeah, metal show. I Megadeth I saw twice. Once
Nice.
10 years ago, and the first time 12 years ago. And they came to Japan, and they were at Budokan, and I totally would have gone if it wasn't on a Tuesday night. Why would you perform in Tokyo on a Tuesday night?
I don't. Joey, would you get that fucking thing off the screen already? God damn.
But it's your world famous history.
Oh, I mean, I've also seen some like local bands live, of course. Although
Nice.
there was one band that I never got to see. That in hindsight, I'm kind of glad I didn't get to see, but back in the day, I was kind of disappointed. There was this band called Caged.
I have never heard of them.
Me neither.
You wouldn't. They're local only to my town. Caged. It was just a bunch of older guys who made up like this metal cover band, and they only performed after hours at bars because their whole gimmick was that they would have girls in lingerie like in cages while they performed.
Cody can relate, but he has them in his basement.
Oh.
They kept telling me no, so I had to do something.
Yeah, to do something. They kept trying to escape. I don't know why they kept trying to leave, so I had to keep them in the cage so that they can't get out.
Yeah, I locked them up and threw away the key.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Finally, someone who gets it.
We are so fucking toxic.
I know it's beautiful.
Well, I wanted to see that band, because, well, obviously, you know, you're 16 years old, you know, but you're not old enough to stay at the bar after hours, so you can't see Cage, you know, an 18 plus show. Well, it turned out that band was like the whole like caged girl gimmick was not good because the people they had in the cages were like really unattractive, I guess. So so I guess it was a win-win.
So actually, it sounds like they actually belonged in a fucking cage in the zoo.
I mean, I don't know who they who they got, but like I had a guitar teacher. I went through a bunch of guitar teachers, but that specific guitar teacher, Jack, he was telling us, oh, caged. Oh man, dude, the girls in those cages are just like they're kind of old and they're kind of fat. I'm like, oh no. He's like, yeah,
so
it's not.
a thing of put your clothes back on.
Yeah, he's like, it's not, because apparently he like opened for them a few times, in his band, but yeah, Cage isn't around anymore. Now they go around as DILF. Without
course.
the girls. Dads in love with fun. That's what DILF stands for.
Oh,
that's a horrible name.
Yeah, I know. That is a great reaction. That was my reaction when I first heard it. They changed from caged to DILF.
The only other time I heard the term DILF was when Griffin Gaming was reacting to a Predator Poachers video of a fat pedophile telling a decoy that was underage, "I'm a DILF." That's the only other time I heard that fucking word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's right. I'm so. It's so bizarre to me that they didn't see that, but I'm sure that band isn't around anymore. Those guys are probably getting up there in age at this point.
I mean, they're probably getting up there at Cody's house.
Maybe. I mean, who knows?
Those cages I buried deep in the ground.
Actually, you guys know G.N.O Samuel?
Yeah, I know the name.
He does those Chris Chan videos, documentary.
Oh yeah, I heard about those. Most recent Chris Chan video I watched was Turkey Tom's.
Okay, yeah. Well, G.N.O Samuel has like this whole like documentary series. I think it's at part 72 or something now. All of them are around like 30 to 50 minutes long. Well, his main thing is music, and he actually released a metal album a few years ago.
No kidding.
It's called Stigma. It's really interesting. If you ever want to check it out, that's a recommendation. G.N.O is a really talented songwriter.
I'll check it out.
That's cool. I might too. And when I say that this time, I actually mean it because music, hell yeah, give me some of that.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that. Like I said, lately I've been back into my metalcore mood. Like, my mood for music switches. Sometimes I'm in the mood for J-pop. Sometimes I'm in the mood for death metal, new metal, metalcore, black metal, pop.
But you'll always be in the mood for gay porn.
You got you there. You got you there.
Oh, God. Oh. Have you guys heard of this one? Like, this is a Korean YouTuber, music YouTuber. She's called Rocket Girl. She makes some really good songs and professionally produced music videos. Like, I'm pretty sure it's ran by not only her, and she makes good stuff. Some of her songs are more heavy metal, and others are more light and are more fun and lighthearted.
I have never heard of her, no, but
look her
I
up.
can't watch it now.
She makes good stuff.
Right on.
Like, I could link one of her songs. Like, she likes that she does some more heavy metal songs, and she does songs that are more like one of the songs that caught my attention was this more soft, summery like song of hers. Mainly why that popped up in my feed is because a lot of my YouTube feed is Godzilla, Kamen Rider, hot naked Asian chicks, and so on. And that one song that got me into her. She's wearing a bikini in the music video. I clicked it not knowing it was a song, and I was like that, hey, she's hot. I gotta get this in my watch history just so I could watch it later. And it got more than I bargained for.
Saving some for later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too bad you'll never be able to touch her or any other girl because no one wants to be with you because you're fuck ugly.
Wait, is your mom not? Does your mom not count as a girl?
Damn it. Well played, sir.
She said the same thing.
If you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go hang myself now.
Man.
So, metal acts we've seen live. You got any more, Jiku?
Nope, that's it.
Well, okay. I guess it's my turn.
Yes, your turn.
I haven't really seen that many acts live either because, well, I'm poor as fuck. I don't have a pot to piss in or a nickel to spend.
Maybe you'd have more money if you actually came out about this photo. This photo here, you'd be rich.
Why do it?
But you want people to think Bigfoot's real. That's what it's like. Yeah, he is real. He's on my podcast every day.
Excuse me, I prefer to go by Chewbacca.
Like, you wouldn't be poor if you took advantage of that photo.
Anyways, I could say the first metal shows, they're technically rock shows, but a lot of the acts did perform metal songs in their set list, was whenever my dad took me and my siblings to go see him perform live, whether it was him solo or him with another act or a little indie festival that he would play. I've been to shows like that, watching him, and he was the best thing about going to those places, except for one time at this one place where while the bands were playing, you could enjoy going down a slip and slide, and I would do that while he was playing. It was a great time, and they were also doing a barbecue off to the side. It was a fun time. And then I would say, oh, he also opened for Leon Hendrix, Jimi Hendrix's very untalented younger brother. I'm sorry to say, but the first big legit show I went to was getting to see Motley Crue and Kiss in 2012 when they performed at the White River Amphitheater in Auburn, Washington. They were doing a tour together just called The Tour, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I even didn't let the fact that Vince Neil couldn't sing anymore bother me. I was just having the time of my life.
Well, going to a concert is like going to a movie theater. It's the best way to experience a song, even if the song or the performance is bad.
Right. I would have enjoyed it more if I wasn't all the way out on the lawn, like to the point where I could barely make out the band, but I was like right up against the railing, so it was okay enough. I painted out my face to look like Gene Simmons when I went to that show, so I got a lot of people coming up to me, high-fiving me, wanting to take pictures. One guy offered me a drag off his cigarette, and I'm just like, no, I don't smoke. And then I also got to watch a biker gang beat up one guy because he wouldn't move for them. That was fun. That was a lot of fun.
That's dark.
It's true. I kid you not. I can't remember if it was during Shout at the Devil or Wild Side, but these four bikers, big burly motherfuckers, bald as shit, had long goatees. They looked exactly like each other. It was like, did you guys come from the planet they make the clones on in Star Wars? But they walked up, and a bunch of people saw them come in, and they walked away, except for one guy, and they told him to move, and he wouldn't, and they beat the shit out of him. And then their leader, who was a small Hispanic guy, pushed me out of the way to get up and start mouthing off to the guy. And then they ran off as the police were coming. The show went on despite that happening, so it was like, poor guy. Wonder what he did to piss them off so much, because part of me thinks that it might have been premeditated. I can't help but think. Luckily, nothing happened like that happened during the Kiss part of the show, which is good for me, because Kiss was who I was going to see, because Kiss was, at the time, was my favorite band. Kind of, sort of, technically still are, but I don't go out of my way to listen to them on the regular as much as I did before. And then in 2014, 2 years later, I went to the White River Amphitheater again, and I saw Kiss again, only this time they were touring with Def Leppard. And this time, I wasn't by myself. My brother went with me, and we were closer. We were actually not on the lawn. We were in the stands that were high up, but still in the stands. So I got a better look at them. And I was going there more for Kiss than Def Leppard, and my brother was going more for Def Leppard than Kiss. But we both ended up being fully satisfied with the show, because it's like, oh wow, I knew Def Leppard was good, but I didn't know they were this good. And my brother, he was like, I knew Kiss were good, but I didn't think they were this good, because he was so blown away. He sang along with the songs like Christine 16, Lick It Up, and Rock and Roll All Night. And he enjoyed their kick-ass stage show, because let's face it, as great as Kiss are, or at least I think they're great, the main reason to go see them live is their stage show. Whether it's Paul Stanley flying out to the crowd to sing Love Gun, Gene Simmons flying above the stage after doing a bass solo with Blood, so he can do God of Thunder, shooting fire after doing Firehouse or War Machine, and of course shooting the rockets out of the guitar for the guitar solos for Tommy Thayer / Ace Frehley, whichever one. Kiss puts on an amazing show, so that's my favorite concert I've ever been to. Kiss and Def Leppard, that's tops for me. Sorry, Dad. But after that, another friend, well, I don't know if we're friends anymore because he doesn't talk to me anymore. Another friend of mine went with me to go see Alice Cooper, and that was a lot of fun. I fucking love Alice Cooper.
I do too. He's one of the most diverse musicians.
He's so diverse and he tells such a great story with his lyrics, and of course, he's got a kick-ass stage show in his own right, whether it's being beheaded, being hung, doing the electric chair, choking a bitch, or a bitch choking him stabbing a bitch, or a bitch stabbing him. Alice Cooper has a great show. When I outside the arena, I'm like, I'll bet you he's going to open up the set with Brutal Planet. And we went in, and sure enough, he opened up with Brutal Planet. So I'm just like, thank you. And of course, he closed the show with School's Out, which he did when doing that song. He also inserted a part of Pink Floyd's Another Brick in the Wall, which is something he's been doing since like 2013, I think, with that song. Either way, it's cool and I love it. And I loved getting to see Alice Cooper. It was so much fun. And then I saw a Kiss cover band that was performing at a small rinky theater, and that's where I got noticed because the guitar player who was impersonating Ace Frehley saw me because I didn't sit down during the whole show. I was standing up, headbanging, pumping my fists, singing along to some of the songs, and he took notice, so he threw me a guitar pick, and I'm just like, hey! And then afterwards, I got to meet some of the members of the band, and the guitar player who was impersonating Ace Frehley even said, "We were watching you the whole time, bro. That was awesome." And I'm just like, hey, what can I say? I'm a fan of Kiss. And then I got to see Ace Frehley, the original lead guitar player for Kiss, doing a solo show in Seattle, and he played some of his Kiss stuff, some of his solo work. And the ironic thing about it was his backup band was also Gene Simmons's solo backing band. And I'm just like, how about that? And I'm such a dumbass. I was on the phone while waiting outside to get into the show, and the drummer for the band passed by, and one of the guys had to point it out to me, and I was just like, I missed the chance to meet Ace Frehley's drummer. And they're like, / Gene Simmons drummer. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, oh.
I know how that feels. Like you missed the opportunity to do something and then you just beat yourself up for it. Be like, I'm such a fuck up.
Yes. I was like that the whole time, except for when one guy tried to cut in front of me because he kept asking people, hey, can I cut in front of you? And then the girl in front of me offered the guy the chance to cut in front of me. And I was reaching into my backpack because I had brought my backpack with me, and in it I had a little crowbar. And I was going to be like, no, you're not cutting in front of me. Get to the back of the line. But before I had a chance to do that, the people that were behind me told him to get in the back of the line. So I'm just like, okay, cool. I didn't have to use that.
Yeah, who gets the nerve to just say, "Hey, can I cut in front of you?" Like, unless you're going through something where you have to cut in front of people. I don't know where anybody would get that nerve. It's like you're not any more important than anybody else. Why would I let you cut in front of me?
I honestly think he was drunk. The way he was talking kind of sounded like he was drunk. Just the cadence and the tone and all that. So I'm just like, okay, you take your drunk ass to the back of the line then. Bye-bye, you fucking dipshit. and a lot of people say that this band isn't very metal, and I would agree to an extent. I think their earlier sound was very doom metal inspired, but but now they've gone in a more pop rock sort of direction. I'm going to see in August. I'm going to go see Ghost at the White River Amphitheater, and I'm really looking forward to that because my sister loves Ghost, and she's sort of taken the family hostage and forced us to love Ghost too. In all honesty, Ghost does have some songs I actually really like.
Yeah, I like Ghost.
So I'm excited to see them live. I know it's not going to top getting to see Kiss and Def Leppard, but still, what will? That doesn't mean you shouldn't go to any other show just because it won't live up to your rose-colored tinted memories of your favorite show or anything.
When it comes to stuff, in general, there's some things where I do, oh, this is better than that. But for the most part, I hate the mindset of, oh, this isn't going to be as good as this, or this is as good as this, or this is better. Because I generally just like to appreciate art, and that includes music, food, and other things, for what they are, rather than comparing which one's better for the most part. I will do that on certain occasions. Half the time I'm trolling, half the time I actually mean it. But there has to be a reason for me to do that.
Well said, Joey. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't gotten the chance to go to a lot of shows. A big part of me wants to, but at the same time, it's just a matter of what you want to spend your money on. Is it worth it to you, depending on the distance, the traveling, and the price and all of that?
I want to eventually. It goes on my big list of stuff I want to do. Like, for example, in a couple days, I'm finally going to check off my list of seeing a foreign film in theaters and a Kamen Rider movie, since Shin Kamen Rider is coming to my theater, and I'm going to be seeing it soon. But I also want to start getting bigger things off my list, like going to concerts and stuff like that. And even conventions like G-Fest or some point. Just haven't had the money or the situation to actually be able to travel there.
For sure.
Tokupunk Productions.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. A comment. Read the chat.
Tokupunk Productions says the only band I could have saw live was the Seven Sevens, but I was a bit too young back in 2017. They're very underground. My dad is a huge fan. They are so underrated and very talented. They took videos. It was some guy's basement, lol, but they played so good.
Well, all right.
Man. Yeah. Most of I think I've seen, like, it's so weird. I haven't seen as many metal shows as unless you want to count like all the shows I've played, I guess, but it was all like the same bands. But like, yeah, I went to, about 5 years ago, there was this free event in Nagoya when I was studying there, and it was like this big event to sort of promote like music from the city of Nagoya, because it's like the forgotten city. Everybody either goes to Tokyo, Kyoto, or Osaka, and everybody just sees Nagoya as just like a way to get from Tokyo to Kyoto or Osaka. So they put on this like big free event in this park that was kind of close to where I was staying at the time, and I went the day where they had just like it was just all idols performing, male and female idols, and that was a pretty cool event. I saw a lot of groups that I don't even think exist anymore live there.
Tokupunk Productions acts. Don't Kyoto not allow foreigners? Jiku, you could answer that.
Oh no, they need foreigners there. I mean, Kyoto is like untouched by World War II. So a lot of like the original buildings that were there are still there, and it's a huge tourist trap. A colossal tourist trap, actually.
Okay. Because I was like, I can't really answer that because the only person who lives in Japan here is you. So
yeah, no, Kyoto loves foreigners. Well, I don't know if they love foreigners. Sometimes
they're
maybe
fine with foreigners, probably.
the Maiko and Geiko, they probably don't really like foreigners so much because foreigners will always harass
Logan
them or
Paul.
whatever. What's that?
Pull Logan Paul and recently some idiot on TikTok was doing.
Oh, I don't even follow the TikTok stuff, honestly.
I don't either. I just watch commentary channels when point out degenerates like that from time to time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's a geisha, so I'm going to harass her or something. It's like, no, you shouldn't do that. So I guess there are foreigners who do that.
I don't know what's with people that want to go to Japan specifically just to start shit.
Mr. Gene, that's what we call them. The guy Gene, the people who come here and have no idea what they're doing. They can be funny, and they can also be the absolute worst.
Yeah.
And it really depends on, why they're here. But in my neck of the woods, they don't typically come out, so that's fine.
Alice said, question, what are your thoughts on power scaling? Fun fact, I am a power scaler. No offense if you don't like it.
What? What the
Alice,
fuck is power scaling?
Like death battles, who will win this, who would win that.
Oh, that stuff is stupid. It's all fictional characters. Writers can literally write characters to be as strong or weak as needed for the story or what they decide. So stuff like that is completely and utterly pointless. The fights are cool to watch, but take the whole analytical shit with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, that's the whole purpose of Marvel's The One Above All, DC's The Presence, and Kamen Rider's Omageo, is to show that basically Omageo from Kamen Rider, One Above All from Marvel, Presence from DC, literally their whole point of being ridiculously OP isn't to have these versus battles, it's to simply show that they're basically the writer. They can do whatever they want. They can win if they want. They could lose if they want. They can make something happen if they want. Everything is under their control. It all decides if the writer wants it to win. I've been involved in there's times where I was gotten into versus battles and then I left it, then I got back into it. Because on a surface level, it seems cool, but then when you get into this very complex discussion of comparing these characters, it starts to just become a bunch of bullshit to me. I don't know. I might
bunch of white noise?
Yeah. It starts to become overly convoluted and makes no sense. I might do a video on it someday.
You totally should.
On why I'm doing a video on why I don't like dub, so I might as well do why I don't like power scaling.
Right on.
Man, yeah, I don't really have so much of an interest in power scaling. But I mean, it's mostly because it just doesn't interest me, I think, mostly.
Well, I'm not saying it's in a bad way because I'm a fucking nerd. It's the whole point of this podcast, but it's nerdy banter. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Alice said there's a problem with that statement. Power scaling isn't just limited to fiction. It might. I said, if I might expand on it more in a video at some point, because I'm just kind of giving a brief analysis on way I see it, because power scaling is something I got into and then left, and then my friend, who also is one of the members of the Discord, one of the admins of the Discord server, got me back into it. And then when we were getting into a debate a few times, I started hearing all this stuff. A lot of the arguments he would spew would just kind of, I think would remove the point of art. We would talk about the One Above All from Marvel, and he would talk about how he exists even outside of reality. And it's that kind of destroys the point of what the One Above All was created for. The One Above All was made to represent Marvel's deadlines and how Stan Lee, and I forgot his name, the guy who was most in charge at that time, to show that they can do whatever they want.
Right
yeah.
And I was this stuff's not really making sense to me. And that's kind of why I left it again. No offense to people who are into it, though. I understand the appeal of it. It's just not something that I'm necessarily into.
You already know me. I already just said I don't give a fuck about that crap.
So you really like it.
What?
that was a joke.
But
Oh,
anyway,
the joke is on me, apparently. Story
well,
of my
it's not.
life.
It's not. The thing is, it's not on you. You're the joke, Cody.
Oh,
And the best thing is, the comedian, the biggest one of them all, is your mom.
I'm the joke? Why does everyone keep saying that everywhere I go?
But anyway, anybody else got anything to say?
I got a list here of random ass metal songs I'd recommend people to check out.
Yes.
See if they like it. Now, I will say some of these are from niche people. These are from established people, and they may not be, or they might be from established people, but not very well recognized songs. I just did a random ass hodgepodge of songs while we were doing this podcast. I'm just like, here we go. In the End, from everyone's favorite band, the Black Veil Brides. Seriously,
I like Black Veil Brides. I just got into them recently since they were recommended on an I Set to Kill You Could YouTube recommendation.
you're one of very
man.
few. A lot of people hate that band. I
Black
personally
Veil
like them.
Oh, my brother got into drama with Andy Six.
Really?
Yes. Way back in high school, he got into drama with Andy Six.
That's beautiful.
It was wonderful. We weren't fans of Black Veil Brides, but
Right.
it was
Yeah.
funny.
I know
Him and
people. I know people don't like the band, but this is one of the few songs that some people that even don't like the band tend to enjoy. So I'm gonna say give it a chance. The next one is Rain by Kiss from their album Carnival of Souls. It was the last album they recorded with the no makeup lineup of the band. It was released in 1996. Originally, it had been shelved because they decided to do the reunion tour with the original 4 members. But it's actually a really cool slow burn sort of song, almost a little doom metal-y, and Paul Stanley's voice sounds great on it. I would highly recommend that song. Fuck Like a Beast by Wasp, because, well, if you're a pervert, this song's for you.
Sounds right up my alley then.
Legend of
That
the
sounds
Power...
like that one Alice in Chains song.
Oh?
There's an Alice in Chains song. I forgot what it was called, but it sounds really similar to that.
Oh. Legend of the Power Sword by Victorious. It's basically them talking about a cybernetic Tyrannosaurus that kicks a lot of ass. And they even have a small insert of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers theme song in it. You know, Go Go Power Rangers. They do that, an instrumental take on that. It's really funny. It's a lot of fun, cheesy ass fun. But another one is Prince of Darkness by Alice Cooper, which was the quote unquote theme song for the John Carpenter movie of the same name, Prince of Darkness.
Good
It's a
movie.
good movie, great song. Even has a cameo from Alice Cooper, who kills, playing a hobo, who kills one of the people trapped in a church with a fucked up bike, which is actually a prop from his show. So that's cool. And Savages by Theory of a Dead Man, which all features Alice Cooper. Kick-ass song. You should listen to it while watching the music video, because the music video is sick. Let's All Party Like It's the End of the World by Steel Panther. They're a goofy-ass band. They spoof 80s metal. It's really funny. They're so vulgar. I can't recommend them enough. And then another one is Stars, which was a song that features a lot of people actually from 80s metal, because they were doing it as a big charity single to raise money for this country that had recently gone through a big ass disaster. It has guys on it like Ronnie James Dio, Rob Halford from Judas Priest, Don Dawkin from Dawkin, Kevin DuBrow from Quiet Riot. It has members of Queensryche on it, Motley Crue, Twisted Sister, and I think it has a guitar solo in it from Yenwing Malstein. I think that's how you say his name.
Oh, Ingve.
Oh, thank you. Sorry for butchering the name, but
Nah, it's all good.
just a whole bunch of people. It has members from Blue Oyster Cult on it too. It's a kick-ass song. It's on the long side, but it's totally worth it because it rocks so hard. I would fully recommend it. Yeah, I recommend it more than Joey recommends his man pussy to people.
And you always take it because you're desperate. And I only go for it because I need some money.
I'm about to say, says the one that threw themselves on my leg and started humping it.
Yeah, and you just took it.
Ugh. Like you take it in the mouth, you little bitch.
Sadly, the milk was dry. That it expired 40 years ago.
Wow.
You bastard, you beautiful bastard. So that's all I got to say about that.
But I might as well go off some that I recommend. Check out this Chinese song called The Night by a thrash metal band called Iron Blade. I found it from Angry Joe's review of this Chinese setting game called Sleeping Dogs, and the song is super fucking good. Check out the song that got me into Japanese music. Last Stardust by the band Bloodstained Child. I have their song Forever's Free as my outro. They're really fucking good. Bullet for My Valentine's, Waking the Demon. What else? I Set to Kill, Reach by the band Reach by the song I Set to Kill. Blessed Are the
Don't hurt yourself.
Blessed Are the Sick by I think that's the song's name. Morbid Angel, Nightmare by Venom. What else? Psychosocial by Slipknot. I'm gonna mention another Slipknot song. Spit It Out.
Like you do on a regular basis.
I knew it. I knew there was gonna be.
Got him.
Linkin Park's Numb. Everybody listens to that song, but I don't care. It's a damn good song. What else?
It's the only song by them I like.
You only like one song? Oh, shut the fuck up. Linkin Park is awesome.
They've never been my thing. I'm not really a big nu metal person. Sorry, Toku Punk. I know you love nu metal, but it's just never been my thing. I like some songs from the genre, but I prefer other genres of metal, as you all know by now.
Watershed by Coal Chamber. We Drink Your Blood by Powerwolf. Cthulhu by the band Iced Earth. Iced Earth blends thrash metal and power metal together.
Man, Iced Earth were all over the place, if I remember correctly. They had like a glam metal phase at one point.
They did?
Like I think so. I'm pretty sure it was them. It was crazy, yeah.
Well, you can't accuse them of not being versatile.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm
just like your pussy.
Oh man.
I work with children. I have a child right here named Joey. I am working with him. Pray for me.
What else? Because I also listen to a lot of underground stuff, but it's hard to think of shit on the top of your head. Also, would recommend Did You See the Sunrise by 1 minute. Let me look up the song just so I can remember the band. The Sunrise. It's the outro to Kamen Rider Black Sun. Give me a second. Shogakusei. Yeah, that's their name. Shogakusei. Check out their song Did You See the Sunrise? That's the outro to Kamen Rider Black Sun. Good fucking stuff there.
So elementary school kids. That's literally what that means. The Shogakusei. That's elementary school.
That's what they call themselves?
Yeah, that's
Shogakusei
school is
like
school.
It's ironic they're called elementary school kids when
Yeah.
they produced the song for one of the writer shows that are made for 18-plus-year-olds.
Yeah.
You know, it's also ironic because elementary school is where your education stopped.
Oh. Oh. Dang.
And you know what? Here's the thing about you. The thing that stopped me in elementary school was your dick growth.
Oh.
No, you?
uh, uh, okay. What else? What else? 1 minute. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the top of my head. Because I listen to a lot of metal bands. Just whenever you want to blend something together, whenever you want to think of something on the top of your head, it's hard, you know?
Sure.
Alice said,
Well-
and if power scaling wasn't real, then that we completely messed up the story. No, it's completely fine to power scale. It's just not something I'm into. I do see the appeal of it, because I've been into it multiple times. I just personally am not in the power scaling for multiple reasons. But I'm not saying that anybody else can't be into it. I see the appeal of it, but for me, eh. But you want to list some songs, Jiku?
Sure. So, well, I want to give a shout out to, my Rochester, New York, is sort of famous for their heavy metal scene. They have been for probably since the '90s, and so I have some friends who have metal bands out there who I want to give shout outs to. The first one is a band called Invictra. The drummer for that band was actually our second drummer in our band. And they're a really cool band. They have 3 albums, or well, 2 albums and 1 EP. But they're a really good band. I would highly recommend Invictra just in general. That's Invictra. Another band is called In the Shadows of Giants. I'm not sure. They're not on YouTube Music, but I'm pretty sure they're on Spotify. A buddy of mine who is a really excellent guitar player who I went to college with, he's sort of like the head of that band. That band is really cool. There's also, I forgot the name. He has like a bunch of metal projects that he does. Eternal Crypt and Gates of Paradox. Those 2 bands are really cool also. They're kind of like folk metal / black metal projects. So shout out to my boy Zane on that one. But as far as like songs I would recommend, like aside from like, nepotism, um, let's see. Only metal songs I'm gonna assume, right? Uh, let's see here. Well, I think one of my favorite songs. It's another joke song, but it's by the Gentlemen called "2019 Guy." Do you know that song?
I don't think I do.
2019 Guy. That's a really good song. It's funny. It's kind of like an alternative metal sort of song. It's really cool. And of course, again, I'm gonna shout out "Teeny Weeny" by Bro Job. Really good song. They're kind of on the older side now, 2018, 2019, but they're really
I hate
good.
that 2018 to 2019 is on the older side now.
Yeah, I know. 4 or 5 years ago.
I hate that.
Let's
I'm
see.
getting old.
You're telling me. You were born in
Ugh.
this century. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So at least you got that. Although I'm not old. But let's see. Anything by Marty Friedman, especially like Steroid Head or Hyper Doom or Sociopaths or Wicked Panacea, Undertow. Anything off of his Inferno album, which is turning 9 years old this year, which is bugging me out. Let's see. I mean, I don't want to give Megadeth song recommendations because I feel like that's like just so super mainstream. But like,
I mean, in all fairness, my recommendation list was nothing but mainstream, except for the one song about cyborg dinosaurs.
that's fair. I mean, if that's the case, then Megadeth songs I would recommend. Mary Jane. That's a really good song. Let's see. I mean, The Conjuring. My Last Words is a really good one. Bad Omen. Good Morning Black Friday is really funny. There are not many lyrics to that one, but it's pretty funny anyway. Foreclosure of a Dream off of Countdown to Extinction is good. I like it at least. Dance in the Rain off of Super Collider. That's a really good song. I don't know why people hate Super Collider, but I think that's good. The entire Endgame album, especially This Day We Fight and Head Crusher. Head Crusher was actually the intro for a some kind of, I think it was either like pro wrestling or some kind of like fighting intro. I can't remember, but it was a thing back in 2009. And let's see, anything else. Bunny Gone Bad. Yeah, that's a metal song. Bunny Gone Bad. That's a good one. Anything by Crush 40.
Rock
Do you
on.
know it? You know any of those?
Tokyo Punk Production says, quick question. What do you guys think of the new trend of metal and rock music as Mario 64 songs I'm obsessed with? I don't have an issue with it. Like, I like metal of all eras.
I mean,
I don't. Go ahead.
I know it exists. Like, the all of Rest in Peace, but in the Super Mario 64 sound font. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. But
Probably.
honestly, I don't really care very much. I'm not interested in it. But that's just me.
That's about my answer too, if I'm being honest.
Also,
nothing
one more
against
song I want to recommend. One more thing I want to recommend. One second. I gotta look up so I could remember the name because remembering songs on the top of the head sucks. 1 second.
You sucks for sure.
Okay, 1 second. It's Mad Qualia by Hyde. It was sung for Devil May Cry 5. And Hyde, from what I know, is is a massive singer in Japan. He's done J-pop, metal, and multiple other styles. Which is why they got him to sing the metal song Mad Qualia for Devil May Cry. Like, that's a good fucking song there. Would highly recommend it.
All right.
There it is. Perfect.
But any more you want to recommend? You want to recommend, Jiku?
I think that's it. I'm sure after this ends, like, I'm gonna come up with something, and but at the moment, that's all I'm coming off with at the top of my head. But honestly, there's so much out there that you can just, like, at this point, there's more out there than I think any single person could listen to within their lifetime. So
absolutely,
yeah,
just explore. I think that's my biggest recommendation. Explore the world of not just metal music, but just music in general. I think there's always going to be something that'll blow your mind. So
yeah, definitely explore.
Yeah,
definitely broaden your horizons. Try and versatile your taste in music and what you listen to, and don't be a dick about it either. If you like something, that's cool. If you don't care for something, that's also cool. As much as I was acting like a douchebag earlier by saying these guys are uncultured swine for not liking what I like for comedic sake, Everyone's entitled to their own taste and opinion. Just don't be a colossal dipshit about it. Like what you like,
Yeah.
but still try to put some versatility in your life. Otherwise, it gets boring.
Yeah, like for example, I like coffee. You don't.
Coffee is for the weak.
You know, am just starting to be able to drink coffee again after being sick and being away from it for a long time.
I couldn't be away from. I actually drunk coffee when I had a infection because I read that it was actually good for getting your energy.
You
up,
are an infection.
and that's not wrong because it did get my energy up.
Yeah, I mean, wait. Actually, that's pretty funny. I was talking about coffee yesterday with someone. I've been talking to a lot of people. My social life, ever since my YouTube got yeeted, my social life has sort of like exploded. So I was like talking to like a friend of a friend who I've never seen before. We were talking about coffee, and she said that she doesn't. The only real coffee is black.
Fuck you,
coffee.
Toko Punk.
What
Toko
happened?
Punk Production said the virgin coffee versus the Giga Chad Cody's mom milk.
Oh, that's funny. So do you drink black coffee or do you drink it like with milk or something?
Is that question that geared at me or Cody?
Either of you guys.
Cody hates coffee in general.
Okay.
It's for the weak.
I like
For the week.
I like it to have it with creamer and milk. I will drink it black if I have to because I value my productivity and energy, but I don't enjoy it.
That's fair. I mean, at least, well, apparently, according to her, then you're a cool adult because you can drink black coffee.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like, I was in a chat with my friend Elferder or whatever the fuck his name is that you see in the Discord server. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm saying something like I don't like black coffee, and he said, "Shut the fuck up, 12-year-old."
Black coffee is great. I like it that way. I prefer it that way, but I have to be careful about my caffeine intake now, I guess. Which is fine.
Yeah, I was gonna do a black coffee joke, but I was like that. No, people are gonna take that out of context.
Oh no.
You racist bastard.
Ah, there it is. There it is. Yep.
Hey, I laugh at all jokes. Like, one of the things I like about Uncle Roger is he did a joke called "Do It the Right Way, Not the White Way."
Not the white way. Perfect.
I could laugh at everybody. As a quote from Guilty Frank, not Guilty Frank. I'm a fucking retard. A quote from Filthy
Yes,
Frank.
you are.
We support prejudice, equality. Everyone gets shit.
Yes. Man,
God bless America.
But that said, unless you guys have anything more to offer, do ya?
I have one more thing to say.
Oh no.
No one can destroy the metal. The metal will strike you down with a vicious blow. We are vanquished foes of the metal. We try to win for why? We do not know. Metal, it comes from hell.
Oh yes, Tenacious D. Love that song. Metal by
I love Tenacious D.
I do too. You also love my D.
Oh.
Grow up, will ya?
Is it because it's tenacious?
But
But anyway, it was an honor having both of you on, especially you, Jiku, since this was your first time jumping on the podcast, and I've been trying to get you on for a while.
Yeah, I've been trying to get on for a while. Just so happens that I have Monday off today, so it's lucky.
Well,
yeah, exactly,
it was cool having you on. This was a lot of fun. It was kick-ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I want to do more music themed podcast episodes too, because I do love music. There's not enough to talk about for me to do my reviews of it, because as much as I love music, like I said, it's
And yeah, we
there's
talked about it
less-
for 3 hours.
Yeah, like there's less complexity to the topic than there is something like movies, where I feel
Well-
like there's a bit more objectivity to that. But
It's more complex, but it's like esoteric. That's a problem. You have to. It's not necessarily. Well, it's not necessarily more or less complex. There's an equal amount of complexity, but there's more like study you have to do. It's not like as maybe apparent as it is in like movies or whatever.
yeah, like it's not something I really feel the need to dive into, but I want to do more podcast themes episodes. And if you guys, Cody, Jiku, have any more ideas for a music themed episode of a podcast, please give that suggestion, because I do want to. I love music and I want to talk about it more.
Oh yeah,
on.
I'm. You know, I had a suggestion earlier, and I
Give
need
it,
to remember it
bro.
because I forgot.
Well, if you have to, give it in the Discord server of the content creator chat. But please comment your thoughts down below, and if you like this video, smash that like button harder than me and Jiku are gonna ride a train on Cody's mom, and share it around and subscribe. This is
Just
also
like
check
Joey
out
gets shared around.
And also check out Jiku's new channels, his gaming channel Jiku, his idol channel I don't know, and his one Japanese channel where he explores places. I recently subscribed to that because I recently found out about that. And when he makes a film essay channel, subscribe to that. This is Gojin the Makai Phantom, leaving the building.
The metal.
The metal.